It's so hard to grieve when you have to keep up a social profile. You need these big breaks, and sometimes you need breaks bigger than YouTube will allow you to have, otherwise your channel dies. It's like, fuck me, I need to pay the rent, but I also need to keep my mind sane. I'm known as this guy that critiques people and takes the piss and stuff. It's not necessarily how I want to be known, but I'm good at it. I am emotional. I do have more to me than just fucking slagging things off. Like the Will and E beef, the famous Will and E beef that everyone brings up.
I didn't feel like you were in a good space then,
right?
And you took it the wrong way because of how you were feeling generally.
I should have always taken that as a joke, like always.
You were like heavily critical, obviously, of the YouTube boxing thing. How have you ended up going into a fucking boxing gym all of a sudden?
I can't box, right? I do not know what I'm doing, but every single day, training, I'm eating well, I'm so much happier, and I think, fuck, this is what these YouTubers have been doing.
What's he dressed in?
What's going on?
I don't understand.
I mean, if you want to.
I get the reaction to me in your t-shirt.
Oh, right. Wow! Wow!
Just, I've been getting... Oh, it wasn't recording. Typical.
This is so... Can I just say, this happens almost all the time with Brian.
It's recording now. I'm the only YouTuber who does not know how to work his own iPhone camera. Do you like it? Lawrence's face.
It's true. I'd say you look like a Georgiafarian.
So...
Yeah.
Are we recording, Rods?
True Marley.
Are we rolling?
I love the big entrance you made.
I put it on, I thought they're going to make comments about this.
I got to admit, I like it.
I'm with the two most sarcastic fucks on YouTube. There's no way I'm not going to get handled. But
If anyone
to be fair, Cons are sarcastic as hell as well. So
Get fucked, Brian.
okay.
It's not in my nature to judge t-shirts.
Yeah.
No.
Not in front of the YouTuber anyway. Yeah. Oh no, you're great on YouTube, mate. That fucking merch. What a wanker.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the True Geordie Podcast, the third one with my mate JaackMaate.
The hat trick.
You've got the hat trick, mate.
I'm buzzing.
That's
prestigious, isn't it?
only a few people have done that. Like Sean Atwood, Will's done it, but I mean he's on EXO, so it's
Cal
easily done.
Freezy's on it every other week.
Yeah, to be fair, Cal's probably on number 5 now, is he?
He's over there.
Yeah, which means you actually
We
get to
do
take...
apply him with drinking drugs every time he turns up, though. So to be fair,
drugs, he means like paracetamol, these
Nitol.
cocodamine,
Xanax.
Yeah.
There's lots out there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's good to have you.
It's good to be back. This is a lovely space.
Thank you.
Really
But
nice.
Have you done? So you've done.
He did the bomb shelter with us, so he knows how far it's come.
And you also did the other one, the first one. So the one that was in the actual recording
with
studio.
with a little cactus.
Yeah.
That never took off, that cactus, did it?
Nah.
I think it's iconic.
That's now my nickname for my penis, ironically.
Is
Little
that is not the cactus?
That's not the same one. We've got.
It's funny, like do that.
Sorry.
Yeah, you got a little. Anyway, I was going to talk about Donald Trump's penis then, but I thought that was a little early to be doing.
We don't need to be doing that.
Lowering ourselves in. It's fair to say that you have had.
Just jump straight into it, mate. I was going to talk about the t-shirt first.
I thought we could sort of get into that. Are they emojis?
So actually, well, there's been a lot of talk about my fashion sense since I wore what some people said looked like a McDonald's shirt on my last video, the orange stripes.
Saw it. Cam
Kirkham sort of stitches up a little bit.
It looked like a bowling shirt.
It's sort of annoying because I like it. I don't give a fuck. And I've had a lot of messages, some off even women, saying it was nice.
So saw Ollie Murs wearing the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
It's definitely shit.
I'm going to have to burn it.
It's definitely shit. You've just... That's it. Now I know it's shit. Do you know what I mean? I was able to convince myself until this point.
Never has anyone gone... I saw Ollie Murs wearing the same thing and gone, must get more.
Yeah. The thing is, Ollie Murs is a funny... I mean, have you done a video with him? I think you have, haven't you?
Yeah, a couple, yeah.
And he did... he seems like a nice guy, but I hate his music with a fire. Do you know what I mean? I fucking hate it. It's so... just basic. His voice, but his voice is not... It's nothing special, is it? So for him to have sold that many records, I'm always like... how are we consuming this? But it's just catchy shite, isn't it? That's all it is.
Just words.
He's probably a lovely. He's one of those nice guys, though. For me, in the media, though, where it's like he's the Jack Whitehall of music. Like, he's just so nice and he's everywhere. And
he's a bit of a cheeky chappy. Sort of like, is he nice in real life?
He's really fucking nice.
I knew he would be. I knew he would be.
Cunt. Yeah.
Cunt.
We did this thing where we like swapped phones and do tweet off. Like,
you guys are so quirky.
Yeah, and
there was a real trend of that for a while. There wasn't there, like swapping phones with a celebrity or like letting them read stuff.
Yeah,
it was a bit weird.
2016. I did it in 2017.
Yeah.
Never early on these trends.
Jumped it.
And I was like asking his agent, manager, whatever, like, can he tweet this? And he was like, oh, it doesn't matter. He was just tweeting like the most.
Brilliant.
Yeah, didn't care.
He was doing it because he'd had a song with that blonde girl who won X Factor, who was a West Ham fan.
Yeah, because one of the questions I asked him was, would you rather shag, marry, kill?
Wow.
She was one of the... What was her name now? Louisa?
That's the one.
And then there was two...
Jamie Redknapp's wife.
There was two other ones.
No, that's someone else, mate.
All right, okay.
He was on tour with Louisa at the time, and he was like, I'd shag her.
Brilliant.
I was like, you sure you can say that?
To be fair, right? So she did it. They also did a video with Will, and she was in the apartment. She must have bent down to get something. I screenshotted it and sent it to Will, and I was like, missed opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Have I taught you nothing?
Do you see it? Do you, every time an arse appears, you sort of see it as a missed opportunity if you don't look at it?
Genuinely, she was fucking banging. But the thing was,
I'll be completely honest. Don't remember.
Right, can we just bring up a picture? Because
just another.
Every time an arse appears.
No, honestly, he
just an arse.
Just an arse.
Like a diglet.
Yeah, and it just, whoop, there it is. And Brian goes,
whack-a-mole.
you see this arse?
Louisa
No, he's got missed opportunity.
So for those who also want to look her up, Louisa Johnson is her name.
People often say, like, white people have no culture.
She is very, very tasty.
Honestly,
very tasty.
I don't remember this
Good
person
voice.
at all. She looks like a blonde Kendall Jenner.
Her voice and us do match up, but she did it.
She's done what?
Voice and arse.
Well, they're both on her level. Do you know what I mean?
Both shit.
But she did a porno, you know.
Joke.
Did you know that?
No.
I
No
fucking
one knew
swear
about
out.
No, she did
I swear.
not.
But it wasn't like one of those cleverly planned pornos for promo where she like fucks another celebrity.
Pornos
it
for
was just
promos,
a
that's a new
random.
company.
He looked like the most basic sort of dude from the sort of the pub. Do you know what I mean?
Was it Ollie Murs?
That would have sorted their
Was this
careers up.
pre-X Factor win or
It
post?
was always after.
Because the calibre of men will change.
No,
dramatically.
but you would
so,
think
yeah.
so, and that's why it was such a like. Oh really?
Such a disappointment.
And
for
it
you
wasn't
in many ways.
like. It wasn't on that Kim K sort of every position well thought out and that as if they had a director in the room.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just like shagging.
Really?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So that's sort of
The core.
If anything, on the one hand, it made us think available, doable,
Right.
maybe. Do you know what I mean? On the other hand, I expected better.
Right.
B plus.
And I'm supposed no one ever thought that they'd ever hear you say of a woman, I expected better. Do you know what I mean?
No, but it just looked so. Do you know what I mean?
Because you're a bit of a connoisseur of pornography.
I watch too much, lads.
Were you quite a porn fiend any time in your life?
Fuck me.
Yeah.
Jack.
Jack, first question. Are you a bit of a porn fiend?
He's trying to turn things around. We're bringing him back.
Yeah.
Do you know?
It's funny though, because we asked these same questions to Dizzy, but he asked them to be cut out, so we did.
I thought after the subscribers you've gained recently, this is going to be a more highbrow show.
Definitely not.
Jack, how often do you wank?
If
Yeah.
anything, now we've got more views. I know we can keep going further down.
Right.
Try less.
Yeah.
Brian often
you
just
can't
looks-
lose them all.
Yeah,
by
exactly.
default,
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, we did ask this of KSI, like, what's your favourite porn sort of thing? His
you're
was
very
cum
similar.
shots,
Right.
if you're wondering.
Cum shots.
Cum shots is his thing.
Well, I guess that's the money maker, isn't it? But
Yeah.
I'm not that arsed. I was never ever into lesbian porn.
Right.
Me neither.
Ever.
Me neither.
Ever.
My first wank was of lesbian porn.
Yeah.
It was on a TV channel called Bravo that at 10 o'clock turned into, or whatever, the porn channel.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was softcore, and they were like from the future, dressed as like half alien
Was
type
that
shit.
Sexetra?
I don't know.
Do you remember that?
I do
Sexetra?
remember that though.
Yeah.
I did used to cry. I mean, you had to, because there was no pausing live TV back in the day. So
No, you had to time it right, yeah.
You had to be primed.
Yeah.
What if the director chooses the wrong cut moment and
No,
you just end up
genuinely,
with
you had to be ready. You had to have everything organised.
Did you ever watch-
Mourinho level organisation.
Brian's there,
100%.
organises his back four, sort of into a. What about Eurotrash?
Eurotrash wasn't up to scratch for me. Like
Right.
you couldn't knock the wank out over that. It was too humour based. For
It's
those who don't know, Humour Trash. What was it? Eurotrash.
Eurotrash,
It was like a French show that was shown in the UK back in the day on Channel 4.
I'm pretty sure it was like Dutch or Belgium or something.
It was
very much-
European with,
yeah.
with European humour, and they used to just have them. That girl called Lulu with the massive tits on there would come. Her tits were so big they eventually killed her. True story, I
Wow.
think.
Okay, I didn't know this. Or I just knew it was.
This is getting darker, isn't it?
I also just knew it was on because.
The problem is, when I know I can be myself for the guest, I just don't hold back. I'm like, thank fuck, I don't have to interview a cunt.
Yeah.
Where was this with Logan Paul?
Tits
were too big.
To be fair, actually talk to him outside of the podcast. It is a bit like this. To be fair.
He's not as laddie, is he? Logan Paul's very much
he's laddie off camera?
No, he's not actually that laddie, is he? He's
so there was. I seen him after the fight. I was having a drink with him, and we had a good little chat there. And then his girlfriend was being super nice to me, and she was like, "You're gonna go so far. Like you're really good at interviews." But yeah, and I was like, "Fucking hell, Chloe fucking Bennett likes my interviews, loving it."
And he nudged him, and he went, "I think I'm in it."
She was very pretty. I must admit that was one thing that hits you when you're talking to this girl. But anyway. And then afterwards he leans into us and he goes,
"Two's up, bro."
Like this was like, I don't know. It must what?
"Two's up, bro."
Fuck off. About 3 a.m. or whatever. This kid's just been in a fight where he's getting his face punched to hell by JJ. And he goes, "Dude, man, I'd love to stay up and chat." He goes, "I am fucked this girl in a month, so I gotta go."
Wow.
I was like, yes. Fair play, son.
Wow.
He's gone up a level there straight away.
Good on him.
We've gone through the shirt. It's Reebok. That's what sort of.
So this is a sort of Joe Rogan wore this on a podcast, and I was like, actually, I quite like this. I quite like, and I thought I'd get it as a tribute to him, even though it's a tribute to another UFC guy.
I reference the movie very often, but you know the movie Santa Claus, where he knocks Santa Claus off the roof and he slowly becomes Santa Claus.
You reference this every week.
I'll be wearing that in my podcast next.
Yeah, exactly. It's mainly because I think one day you're going to try and get Joe Rogan on a roof and then knock him off, and then you will slowly become Joe Rogan.
Recently, my dream job was to be a UFC commentator, and someone commented, "Stop trying to be Joe Rogan." I thought to myself, I'd like to do his job. I don't want to be him. Do you know what I mean?
But that is what you're.
At no point am I sort of.
You're supposed to emulate and like take influence from other people, aren't you?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Ricky Gervais.
I was waiting for it ever since that left his mouth. I was just waiting for you to pipe up.
Do you get that as well about the Gervais thing a lot?
Oh yeah, because I do clearly rip him off.
Well, your humour, but if your passion and interests are the exact same as another person who's gone where you want to go in life, is there anything wrong in like?
It's just because I watch his stuff all the time. Like I'll happily watch his stand-up shows 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow.
So it's commitment.
But if you if you said got an idea for a sitcom to this company, we're in an office, like fair enough. Then it's taken it too far.
Yeah.
Or you start literally trying to like rip him off entirely. I don't think either of us are trying to do that. We're trying to like use inspiration and do what they do in our own way.
When I was 15, I went to a hippie festival with my parent, one of my parents, and I remember there was like a tent where you could go and do anything, and it was about like I was wandering around on my own weirdly at like 1, 2 a.m.
I've heard this story before. It's so funny.
And I went into the tent and I was outside and I was just like, I go up to this hippie guy and I was like, I want to do some stand-up. And the guy was like, you? And I went, yeah, I want to do some stand-up. So in my head, all I was going to do was go up and do Ricky Gervais jokes to a crowd of people who didn't know that they were Ricky Gervais jokes. And so I'm standing in this tent and I was just going through it. I was like, okay, I'll go out there and I'll do the Bible bit that he does, and I'll do the bit where he does the elephant thing and things like that. This crowd would be cracking up. And then last minute I had like a crisis of conscience. I'm like, but they're not my jokes. And they go, welcome to stage, young comedian now. And I just walked out. I couldn't stay.
Oh, I thought this was the
not one where he holds me. No,
the hippie
when he says fall back into my arms.
No, there was one hippie who really sort of took a shine to you, almost on a strange level.
There are a lot of hippies that take a shine to me. I was having this chat in the office the other day. There was just
when you were a young lad though, remember, is it the same tent?
No, a different tent. It was literally next door.
When you were a young lad, remember
next door. But what's weird about hippies is like they don't understand when they're being like sexually creepy. Do you know what I mean? Because they're like free love and like all this sort of thing. So when they are
free love, any age, is that what they're saying?
When they are being a bit weird,
a bit pedo-y.
they don't know but you feel it.
What if they do know, but that's just a great way for a pedo to be a pedo without being outed as a pedo?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And they're also in self-denial. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So they won't.
Yeah.
They'll
this
never.
has gone weird.
Yeah,
hasn't it?
pedos within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Mad.
it's like watching a Will and E video.
Where so in the since we last seen you,
Yes.
the main like the first thing that happened was that Zoella video.
Yeah. Which one?
The calendar.
Yeah.
The Zoella
Again,
video.
which one?
You knew which one you meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
There's been a couple.
Yeah. That's been
What's happening to her channel? Is she just... There's this kid, right? Fuck knows what his name is, but he keeps making videos called "Why Insert YouTuber's Name Here Channel Has Died."
I've seen that.
I can't help but...
Yeah.
I start watching it, I'm just like...
He's like a B-Tech Will and E,
No,
isn't he?
but I can't...
C-Tech?
He's got that delivery, that Will delivery, but it's... he does his research, and I quite like that about him. Like,
Yeah.
Don't say he's got that Will delivery, but he does his research.
no, I just mean like he's more. He gives really informative breakdowns of what's going wrong on
Yeah.
someone's channel, and it's you just find yourself like, I understand that you're sort of making a channel about other people's channels going down, and there's something sort of a bit shitty about that. Like, you've got to come with something else. But as a young YouTuber, I kind of rate what he's doing a little bit. Like, he's coming in an angle, and it's kind of like, it's kind of interesting.
He's a bit like a shit YouTube Bloomberg. You know when stocks and shares go up and down, and Bloomberg do reports on the companies. He's a bit like that.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, no, I don't mean it in like a bad way. I mean, like, Bloomberg's just very high production value, and
And he's in his
obviously-
bedroom. Fair play to him.
He's done videos before where he's like, so it'll be a similar topic to what I've done.
Yeah.
And then he'll just use all my points.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And then, which is like, it's fine, but
That's partly like the emulating people that you know, though.
Yeah.
Like, you imagine he's watching your stuff, and
Yeah.
then there is, I can't remember what the phrase is, but you basically do what you've seen, but you don't know that you're replicating it. You're basically, you think of it as your own thoughts.
Right.
So I imagine he watches something 2 days before that's
Yeah,
yours,
yeah.
and 2 days later he goes, well, Zoella had a calendar, I should do something about that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like-
yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do you feel knowing that you're one of the originators of being like a YouTube critic, and now that there's this new wave of people like him coming through, are you like, does it...
Give it a rest, mate.
What would you say to people like that coming through? Does it bother you? Or?
I don't know. I don't tend to watch many of them. I watched him because I was in a few of the thumbnails, so obviously I'm interested. But I don't tend to watch...
Channel was going downhill at the time.
Still is. I don't tend to watch people like that, because then if I'm watching this guy all the time, and somebody does something, he makes a video about it. Exactly what you just said. When I make my video in 2 days' time, I'm just going to be copying the points, even though I might genuinely believe them.
Yeah.
Do you know
Right.
what I mean? So I tend to stay away from stuff like that. I tend to stay away from uploading content mainly.
Yeah.
is what I do.
I think that's really become like a trend on YouTube, hasn't it? Like,
Yeah,
sort of
not
just
uploaded, yeah.
it's a bit more mysterious. You know.
No, it has gone a bit different though, hasn't it? Like, but I felt like even last year there was something. Maybe I'm just being influenced by Will, because he was on that like every 2 day grind.
Oh, yeah.
But it felt like uploading all the time was like a thing, like, and you had to aspire to upload every couple of days, and then recently it doesn't matter as much.
People have been talking about YouTuber burnout recently,
Yeah.
and that happening.
Yeah.
And I've also noticed one thing. I don't know whether you've both noticed this as well. Big YouTubers are now uploading 4-minute videos, and then so like David Dobrik is doing 4-minute videos, and then go and watch my reactions on Instagram or Snapchat or something, which is quite interesting.
What is that? Just to build his socials everywhere else?
I don't know. Con's looking at me as if I'm saying it wrong. Is that right or wrong?
No, I'd say that's right.
It's about right. Yeah, he's
But
doing
Dobrik's always done that. The point I'm making is,
But I'm saying
within,
that's setting a trend.
There's always a trickle down effect. Like, little YouTubers look at what the big guys are doing and copy that. So like when like people like Logan and like if Logan and JJ, for example, take a break because they're training and then they upload a video, we're saying that because they haven't uploaded in a while, the anticipation builds more so than it would do. But you have to get at that level where people give a fuck
They're
first.
at the top of the tree, aren't they? So everyone's
it's easy
waiting
to do that. But I don't know. I just feel like people are concentrating more on doing maybe a little bit of a longer, more quality video than just shitting out stuff the way people used to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is good. I prefer it that way.
Yeah.
I'd rather give me a longer quality video than a fucking shit sandwich any day.
I also kind of like, I know there's trends on YouTube. I kind of want to see it becoming a bit more diverse. So some people taking the shorter video route, some people taking the longer. What I get a bit annoyed at is everyone jumping on a trend, and I get that's the way that trends work, but I want to see a bit more diversity. Like I want to see some people doing, like, you know, it's for a little while people started doing podcasts, and you started doing podcasts, and
YouTube's one of the worst places I feel for like
fishbowl
copying everybody else, because it's hard not to do. We're all in the same game, and then someone sees something work, and that, like when the diss tracks were on and stuff like that. Now we've got boxing, but I feel like it's cool to go with trends, but as long as your channel has other stuff going on as well, that's cool. It's when you get one YouTuber who just flows with the fucking river wherever it's going. Their channel just becomes that one thing.
I think some people, their personality is so different to everyone else, such as yourself, such as Stephen. I like to think me as well, because I'm a miserable fucker. That when you do jump on trends, you add something different to the trend anyway. Do you know what I mean? Whereas some people, there's no, don't need to name any names, but there's like a bowl of like very similar type vloggy people.
Put your hand in, you pick one up, they're the same as each other.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, they look the same, sound the same, do the same. So when they're all doing the same kind of videos, it just becomes a bit dead.
Yeah, they're the ones who wash it out and kill it quicker than anyone else. Speaking of Stephen, I wish Stephen would do more. This is such a random point, but like I love his sketches, but I'd love him to go off and do like a different kind of series where he's being himself more.
I'd love to hear his opinions on things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
he's quite smart.
A little bit like maybe a show like a bit like what you and Will and a couple of just to see how he would take that on.
Because when he has been on Will's channel, he has actually had some quite good perceptions, but I think the problem for him is he's not a very judgmental person, and it takes a level of being able to like sit back and judge.
Well, he's really critical of himself though.
He's critical of himself, but very rare. So very, you know, sometimes I'll be like, oh, you know, do you want to evaluate this last video? And I'll be like, I don't know, I don't really want to. He almost doesn't want to upset the person he's talking to, because he's quite a kind guy.
Unless it's Will.
Unless it's Will. But then with Will, even then you can sort of, you can tell he's like with you, with me, with Will, he'll evaluate in a very kind way. He doesn't want to hurt anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas there are other YouTubers who almost have that. You know what I mean?
think if his conscience was a bit more on mine and your level, we'd get some cracking material out of
it. Do you ever finish a bit like with the Zoella thing? You must have also seen the other side where you see. You know she's not a greedy little fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know that.
Yeah.
So when you finish the video,
I don't know.
I'm not.
Because I don't.
You're not convinced of it.
It's a £50 advent calendar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, how can anyone justify that? If you started selling it for £50, or I'd say you're greedy fuck.
There'd be a text message coming saying, "However, Brian, you might be making a fucking mistake here, mate."
Yeah, like that's mental.
Yeah.
And the whole, I suppose there was a whole series of things like, but for me, it felt like it was a bit similar to Logan Paul's situation, where it became a lack of context in their lives, and so you just the beast gets so big, it's hard to then, every little decision almost becomes like, oh wait, what's going on here? And suddenly you've got a £50 calendar.
I think that there's two ways of dealing with it. When you fucked up majorly online, you can either try and hide, or you can own it. And I felt like at least Logan did a video right afterwards. I fucked up. As much as some people might think it was bullshit, he took ownership of the situation. Sorry, video. With Zoella, hiding it on a second channel at the end of one of her videos, and then blaming it on Boots at the same time. I kind of felt like, oh, you have not played this well at all. No. If anything, you've shown more guilt by like sliding it in there and be like, oh yeah, I'll deal with it there, than if you just done the whole world's talking about this, Zoella, like you're not fooling anyone right now. Take ownership of this shit. And for me, it made me believe her a lot less by how she dealt with it.
It was poor. It was poor.
That was it.
And the fact that I can't remember whether she said, I don't want to misquote her in case it's not true, but the fact that she said that it was, I think she said that Boots priced it, or she didn't get much say in the price.
She said she had no say in the price.
But that's bollocks.
Then don't sign up to it.
Yeah, don't do it then. Because if I was to release a bit of merch and they came to me and told me the price point and it was that fucking high, I'd pull out of it. I would pull out of it, because that is mental.
Or do you think the assumption there was, well, something good will be in it, so it'll sort of be worth the 50? Or that would have been my, because we were saying like you could buy fucking FIFA, Call of Duty, you could buy a lot of things for 50
We were
quid.
saying we should put Call of Duty in the calendar and then it's worth it. it.
What was really killer about your video is that you did go through everything and go,
Shit.
this is worth 20p,
Yeah.
or this is worth like £5 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it never added up to that 50.
No.
So that was part of the frustration as well, was if you were buying something that was worth £50 when you got it and it was like a Zoella jumper and all these things, that would have been a slightly different case.
But it doesn't have to be worth £50. It can be worth £25. You can sell it at 50 because
Right.
Zoella is a brand. But it was because it was so far from that. And I think that a bit of like the grey area, or the massive grey area, came from the fact that it was like you're buying a lucky dip. Right,
yeah,
that's what you're doing. Like, you can research it, but the kids don't really want to research it because the joy comes from the surprise.
Yeah.
So you're buying a lucky dip, and then I thought of reviewing it. I bought the thing. I had a little look online, and it became so apparent. A bag of glitter. Like, this is beyond a joke now. Like, it got to the point where this is going to be a funny little parody thing. Like,
You didn't know what you were getting yourself into.
It was so bad. So when you say to me that I know she's not a greedy fuck, or whatever,
Yeah.
I have to agree. I don't know, because you would not do that. You would not do that. I would not do that. Like, I'm sure she's not evil. Like, I'm sure she's not evil, and she's brought out a lot of other merch that I've never touched upon, like ever. She's brought out hundreds of products. I've never touched upon it, but that was just so shit.
One thing I remember watching your video back was it was almost as if you couldn't believe your luck as to how bad the stuff was.
It served it you on as someone who your bread and butter is in that Gervais style, to pick things apart the way he did the Bible, for example. To have
similar
so much to work with it, it's like so funny.
I'm the only person to get my money's worth from that calendar. That's what I always say.
Well, CPM was really high at that time as well, so you definitely got more than 50
that must have been a hell of a video.
And then of course you got on, like, mainstream media sort of looked in as well, and that really helped.
You got a lot of exposure from that, didn't you?
Yeah.
As well.
Did you get a lot of the other side? Because we all know about the public exposure.
Yeah.
How did you feel about was there anyone who messaged you from the YouTube community who was saying, you're well out of order here, like this is...
You had the obvious ones, didn't you? Like her brother, her boyfriend, and that circle. But
did they come to you direct, or were it much more public, passive?
Never ever direct. Like the first person I think I ever heard even talk about it, defend it, and to be fair, I don't think he slagged me off, I'm not sure. He's well within his right to. But it was Joe Sugg when he came on your podcast. That was the first time I was like, wow, someone's actually speaking about this.
Right.
Because no one was ever mentioned it. Yeah. I had way more... And I'm not saying this from a braggy point of view, I'm saying this from I'm shocked as well. I had way more people in the community, the blue tickers, the mainstream celebrities, getting in touch and are all for it. Like, I'm talking mainstream celebrities where one day I'm like, the fuck? Like, this is mad. So that's kind of...
It seemed to change your career a little bit, that.
It did, but it kind of put me on a bit of a... it was kind of like a poison chalice as well, because then from that moment on, I've always been somebody that picks apart things. I was going to say for the good or the bad, but mainly for the bad. I try and find the comedy out of these things.
Obviously.
Like that's your
gig.
Above all else, that's why I do it. I keep getting a lot of people at the moment keep asking me to make videos about this Chris Ingham guy, who may or may not be a sexual deviant.
He's allegedly,
that's a strange. I've avoided that like the plague, because I'm the type of bloke, I want to see the facts first.
Exactly.
And I know that there's been other videos made, but I'm just like, when everything comes out, then we can make our judgments on that.
And I feel like
it doesn't look great.
With a shit calendar or an empty book or something like that, or Alfie Day's doing the £1 challenge, there's comedy to be had in that for sure. And if you feel like you can't punch up at these people, then it's later like then it's ridiculous. But with something like the Chris Ingham thing, that's for something way bigger than me, right? Go to the police or go like, what am I going to do? He could be a paedophile, guys. Like, where's the comedy?
You're also slightly getting the comedy out of the comedy. There would have to come from quite a dark place, where it's sort of like, he touched girls or whatever, which we don't know if he did, but like that would be what people would be saying
for sure. And with the whole Jimmy Savile stuff, right? Time's passed, time's passed, and jokes. I believe you can joke about anything, but there is a time and a place. And if these accusations are going on now, so there's girls that are hurting now. So if I'm making jokes about these victims now, you never make jokes about the victims, you know what I mean? But if you're making jokes now and these girls are watching it, it's going to crush them twice as bad as I assumed anything that was like...
It also doesn't really suit your style of comedy, which is a little bit more you slightly take the moral high ground on things,
Right.
or play the people's hero at times. You
Yeah.
know, and whether you choose to or not.
Yeah.
But it would definitely not suit your comedy to then be making jokes about people who are in that situation.
No.
But what about? So then it then goes on from there, where you've obviously benefited quite a lot from some of the negativity. Do you think that had a bit of an effect on how you felt about your channel? Like, there are a lot of people looking in and hating as well as enjoying your stuff.
Did you get much of a backlash from the Zoella fans?
Yeah.
Because when I did the Logan thing, there was a good 5% of the comments who were on his side. Do you know what I mean? The original Logan video.
Not particularly. Nothing that ever made a dent. Nothing that ever stood out and made me think, fuck, like maybe I've overstepped the mark here at all. I think their comments genuinely wouldn't affect me either. Like, I completely understand how the whole world was against Logan, right? But I'm never going to do anything to that degree. I'm only going to pick people apart. And if 50% of my audience turn on me tomorrow and call me out for something, I'll kind of respect it, because it's like, maybe I have genuinely. I said this on stage at Summer in the City, right? Something that, because with me and you, we don't cut our stuff. We're very scathing in the way we say things, and because we have this honest, very raw relationship with our audience, I feel like if I do fuck up and say something that's out of point, not only will you and all my YouTube mates tell me, but my audience will as well.
Right.
I don't want them to latch onto my coattails and just be, oh, you're great, everything you do is so amazing. I don't want that, because I will fuck up. I say
It's sort of live by the sword, die by the sword in that sense.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. If Ricky Gervais came out tomorrow and was saying some obscure stuff about something that I opposed, I wouldn't just be like, oh, okay, Ricky.
Right.
I'd feel the point of telling him. Just because you idolise someone doesn't mean, I'm not saying people idolise me, but just because you look up to someone or you watch their videos doesn't mean that they're always going to be right. And I feel like, because I criticise people all the time, I'm open to criticism. I don't take this game too seriously.
Is
I
that
really
the same
don't.
for you?
What, am I open to criticism?
Like, how do you feel when you get criticism? Because I know.
I to be honest with you,
Does it bother you?
it depends on where it's coming from, because if it's legit criticism and it's something I can really... The thing is, I think my frustrations come from context, if people knew what, so if someone messages and says this video was shit, and then I know everything that went wrong in my week before that, and know, I don't know, let's say everything was going shit and I was having a really bad time in my personal life, and I'm do you realise how hard it was just to get that fucking video out? I see a comment like that and that gets to us, because they don't know what the fuck is going on,
or if it absolutely nails something that you are... What I hate is when you know there's something you've done wrong in a video, so maybe the sound's slightly off, but you put so much into it, or you know that you could have done, we've been to another country or something, and people go, you should have gone there, and you say, I should have seen that. That sort of thing gets to
we had an issue with 100th podcast where the sound was absolutely fucking terrible.
Right.
Long story, but it was an issue that I was out of my control, and I got a few messages, and there was a point where someone messaged me the sound was shit, and I was just I just blocked them, because I thought to myself, I'm doing everything I fucking can here, and believe me, you will never be aware of anything going on my channel that I'm not already aware of, because I literally give everything I can to my channel. So if I prefer my criticism to come in the form of what kind of content they'd want me to make, as opposed to the quality, because I'm operating at 100% already. I can't be any better than what I am in terms of the videos I'm making, or at least I feel that way. There's always room to grow, but in my ability right now, I'm giving 100% of what I've got.
Right.
So I'd rather the criticism come from I'd rather see you make, when people say they want us to make a football hangover video, I haven't done them for a while, because when Man City ran away with the title last year, I just was Newcastle, we're an average side, we're not great, we're not terrible, it's just basic football. City have won the league, there's nothing to talk, I felt like there was nothing to talk about, and other things were happening on YouTube that was sparking me interest, and I've always loved fighting more than football. I just always have, but football was what sort of I made my name on, so now people are holding us to what I used to do, and I respect that, when people say I wish you do more football hangovers, but equally I want them to respect that this is what I want to do right now. Do you know what I mean? And maybe I'll go back that way in the future. But like, you do find different things you want to talk.
Football.
When people say, I want you to talk about football, and I was like, yeah, ignore the 5-hour live stream I did on football last weekend.
Yeah.
Like and it was constant football analysis for 5 hours solid.
One thing that I guess we definitely had this experience with Logan, because we spent hours talking about how you were going to do the Logan Paul podcast beforehand. Like, Brian was always running ideas past me. Should I go down this way? Should I go down this way?
It was really good, by the way. You absolutely smashed it.
It was really well shot.
Oh, well, there was a couple of... Basically, we realised before this, because I watched the Casey interview, because he recommended it, I watched it and I was like, I cannot do an interview like that. It was fucking painful.
Yeah. I watched about 10 minutes and I couldn't do it.
23-year-old lad getting attacked, shuts down, good night, that's it, really. Like, yeah, he fucked up, but like, but the thing is with Casey, no disrespect to them, the man is one of the legends of YouTube, like, fully, but it's just like, he's not an interviewer, so I had to find a way of...
I also think he went in there thinking there was going to be a different exchange, and it was almost like it was a slight...
so did Logan, though.
It was a good precursor to the interview that you ended up doing.
It helped me out a lot.
It helped you out because you could have maybe felt like you had to be a little bit more harsh, but you sort of almost saw the reaction to being that way, and so got to take the other angle. I'm not saying we're not smart enough to come up with that angle ourselves, but what...
I would have anyway, but it was just a guarantee of this is what happens if you just try and call the lad a cunt.
You won't open up.
Yeah.
Do either of you ever get to a point where you are taking a person apart and then you remember, like, this is actually just a person who's very fallible?
Yeah.
Have you ever not released a video for that reason, where you've absolutely destroyed someone and then gone, I can't do that?
I've definitely cut a lot out. The only way that I justify it, or try to justify it, is that back in the day, I would just call people cunts for the sake of it. And it was very juvenile and very boring. People will say my content is now, but more
I love
so,
how you always just put that disclaimer.
Welcome to the JaackMaate channel. Links in the description.
But I think if you go on my channel and you look at what I've spoken about, it's not really them as it's not really anything that they can't help, right? So what I used to do is I used to slag off a lot Alfie's content. And then I realised that's just such a wanker thing to do, because the content's not aimed at me.
Yeah.
Like, so I think I did a lot of growing up in that respect. Who cares if I don't like the content? That's like me watching an archery program and going, this is fucking shit. Well, yeah, because I don't enjoy archery. Right?
Archery is shit.
So when he's doing the £1 video, and I'm just, it's so ignorant, and whether or not he meant it to be, it's ignorant, because that's what ignorance is.
That's what Tories are like, though.
I'm not a Tory. God bless them.
Honestly,
see,
I
if
felt
I
so
did that
bad.
impression, I'd be fucking crucified.
I did feel bad. I felt so bad for him that he had to do a video where...
Genuinely, though.
He genuinely goes, I'm not a Tory.
That was a meme instantly.
It was so good.
Mainstream journalists were using that at one point, like to
I'm not a Tory.
But I felt so bad. I watched it. I remember just feeling like,
I love it.
Oh my God, it's gotten to the point where you have to deny being a conservative. Like,
I think that came when I was watching his apology.
Yeah.
Like, I'm watching it, and I thought, for how he fucked up, his apology was probably one of the most genuine apologies
100%.
I've seen on YouTube. I was like, all right, he's really apologised, and he means this, I can fucking tell.
I felt so confused.
But I was so with him, and then out of nowhere he goes, and there's just one final thing. My wife loves it. No.
Not sorry.
And I was like, where are you going with this? Like, dude, like, stop. I was just pulling the words back for him. You know what I mean? Like, put them back in. But, that was... I think, to answer your question in regards to, like, how much you can smash someone or what you should... I think there's a few things I've said, obviously, about women and stuff like that in the past that I shouldn't have said. But also, in the Logan video, I only edited one thing out, which was that... you see me at one point go like that, and like afterwards I was like, when I see you, I'm gonna fuck. Like, I'll really. I
remember you telling me that.
I said, if I leave that in, I've lost all credibility straight away. I need to because in the calm of editing the video, I was like, all right, that just doesn't need to be there because that's not really how I feel about the guy. I'm just pissed off at what he did.
Yeah.
But I must admit, the Keemstar Fussy Tube has been a bit of a learning experience for me as a breaking people down experience, in terms of Keemstar has critiqued Fussy Tube's actions and the things he said, and fairly for the most part. But then there's a point where, because Fussy Tube messaged me after I did the original Logan video saying, you know, can you give me some sort of support? I was kind of like, I'm not the guy for this, like, you know, I'm not being a cunt or anything. I just don't know, I wouldn't know where to start being a guidance type dude.
I think he was talking about sort of because he was talking to you about his addiction, wasn't he? Or his
he was like, can you be my sponsor type
yeah.
thing, and I respected like where he was coming from. It was nice that he thought of us in that way, but equally, like, I didn't really know who I didn't know who Fussy Tube was at the time. I was like, he has this American YouTuber. I was like, you know, we messaged a little bit, but anyway, when Keemstar was fully heavily critiquing Fussy, and then Fussy Tube looked like he was having a breakdown, there was a part of me watching this like, oh shit, if Fussy Tube does anything stupid, like, Keemstar is going to look like this is not going to go well. The YouTube community is just going to be terrible. Like, not just because obviously you don't want Fussy Tube to fucking go, like, anything happen to the guy, even though some of the things he says are ridiculous.
But can I just interject and say, I get what you're saying 100%, but when and before I get to this, I just want to say, with the kind of like the books and the merch and all stuff like that, right? I'm not comparing it to the story I'm about to say. It's not half as bad. But there was a YouTuber about 4 or 5 years ago called V1I, who I often make jokes about.
Yeah.
Who
no idea who that is.
He basically he admitted all this, right? So this is why I openly talk about it all the time, because it's fact. But he got one of his.
What was he?
He was like just a vlogger type guy, and he got one of these young fans round. She was under the age of 16, or she was 16. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. But it was murky waters. I think she was just slightly under. He got her drunk, and he slept with her, and she came out and said she didn't want to do it, and he put her in that position.
Wow.
And it was like, I think did they call it statutory rape? Is that what it is? And he came out, right, and I'd made a video about it. This was one of the first videos where I really was like, I'm actually going to make a whole video about this. And I was just saying, fuck off, away from YouTube now. Like, you don't, like, you should be locked up, blah blah blah. Then he made a video, and it was like one of these apology videos, and he was like, I'm from a Mormon background, so I didn't realise. Mental. And then he basically started, without actually saying the words, he was basically insinuating that my life's going to go from this point if you all start saying this, and I can do some dodgy shit. Like, he's basically insinuating that he could kill himself, right? And then that made me
back off him, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then that made me think, right, this is dodgy, because if he does kill himself, I've got a video that's getting quite a lot of views, calling him what he is and telling him to fuck off. But then I thought, just because I'm critiquing the negative stuff you've done for what I believe to be the right reasons, I'm not just going, look at your hair, you're a bit fat. Do you know what I mean? I'm actually pointing out the bad things. If they then do go and do anything bad, I don't think that's on the commentator. I don't think that's on the person that picked them apart.
I don't think it is, but what I'm saying as someone who just doesn't want someone to die in that respect, even if I do think that way, is I think there's certain people who you know can handle it, and then there's, so what I'm saying is, before I say something now, I would be a little bit more like, all right, can this person take what? So I knew Logan can take it. Right. You can just tell. Yeah. When I made that video, the guy is the way he is. Do you know what I mean?
But then there's that argument. Do you know? Because you don't really know what's going on in someone's head. Like
completely.
So, but
I see what you're saying as well.
It's a tough one, is what I'm saying. There's like, because I heard a story locally from me last week of someone who was getting shit at school, and for being gay, and they took their own life, and like, I was like, fucking hell, 14-year-old kid or whatever. Saw that. And it just makes you think, like, that just made me think, like, obviously you relate things back to YouTube, and you think, God, we criticise people all the time, like, sometimes people just don't know the damage that they're doing when they're doing it, and it's a totally different situation, but I'm just more like aware of it. Like, there's nothing you can really do to stop when you're criticising someone, you can't really predict what's going to happen next. No. But let's just say there's certain YouTubers like Fussy Tube who I would stay the fuck away from.
I'd be
for that
reticent
reason.
for that reason. I see what you're saying. To put the opposite view forward, I think YouTube's probably quite a specific place where, because of the way the community is, you can critique other people. Like, it's seen as sort of a platform to be able to do that and have that honest conversation.
It's become quite normal, hasn't it?
But I think it always is within comedy. You've had Mock the Week for years. They mock politicians all the time.
But the thing
Charlie
is,
Brooker.
that part of that is, though, those politicians and the people that Charlie Brooker mock have all chosen to put themselves almost knowingly into a political position where it's seen as you're taking a position within society. You're taking that responsibility. And there is something about it all, and I'm not critiquing what either of you are saying, but that does sometimes stink a little bit, even the critiques of that, like, white privilege sort of,
for sure.
We're all sitting around smelling our own farts and loving it sort of thing, like we're all making money out of this. I'm not saying that you're coming from the angle or that you're coming from that angle, but it does smell a little bit like that. Do you know what I mean? Where, well, I'm better than this guy because he's making shit content, but I'm making content about his shit content, so how good am I? And you two sort of take the angle of, we're no better than anyone else. But there are people out there who are very judgmental about it. And the weird thing for me is how real it feels. Like, if you step out of it, and I talk to one of my family who doesn't watch YouTube, they're like, why the fuck does any of this matter? Like, how does any of this matter to anyone? Because literally it feels fictional to other people, because they're like, well, it doesn't affect me in any way. But it has that vibe of, you know, like a load of privileged people sitting around who are all making money out of it. It feels a little bit like a Ring almost, where they just pass it around.
It doesn't start that way, though, does it?
No, and that's what I'm saying, is it feels a bit like YouTube didn't build itself to get to this point, but actually, and it never thought, well, there'll be all these white privileged vloggers. It thought there'll be there'll be a black guy, or there'll be an Indian guy, or there'll be a Chinese guy, and they'll be very diverse. But it didn't quite work out that way. Like,
no. Not in this country, but I mean, it's still early days, really, isn't it?
And that's part of the point. Is it does feel a little bit like, if you two kept making this content. We had this conversation yesterday. You were talking about how you don't feel like you can keep making the same content, because not only will you get personally bored, you won't see your own personal progression. So if you were 30 and still making the same content, you'd look at yourself and go, what the fuck? What am I doing? Because I started this when I was 20, 22, or whatever age.
It bores me now. So.
You almost have to go through that. We as the YouTube community almost have to go through this phase, and it will pass. If it's always this way, and in 5 years' time it's this way, people sort of go, "Fuck, are we really still here?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that would be disappointing to me, that we were still in that position where we were all making the same vlogs and still doing that same stuff. And you've both expressed that you both want to do better as part of why you're doing your boxing.
What a YouTube is that it is for everyone, and then some people aren't going to have the capabilities to make a fucking documentary or whatever. So there are girls out there who are currently 15 or whatever thinking, let's do a shopping haul. Do you know what I mean? Like after Zoella, and not really fully realising like that is being done to death on YouTube. Like this.
I also think that's a start for them. Do you know what I mean?
It is, though. That's what I'm saying, and they'll grow from that. But equally, you've got to start somewhere. It doesn't.
You can't be Scorsese straight away.
You can't come in a documentary. Do you know what I mean? You just can't.
It's absolutely soul destroying when, like, for me, I may do a video with my comedy hero, Ricky Gervais. I've got an hour long with him. What a privilege. Best moment of my life.
Wasted it.
No,
sorry.
Can you stop being a cunt? He's trying to talk you.
Uploaded it. 150k views. Okay. Not all the comments, few comments. This is great and all, but have you noticed Ollie White's got a new t-shirt out? It's like, okay, next week. That's a shit t-shirt, isn't it? I'm almost a parody of myself by this point. Look at this t-shirt, 300k views. It's like, fuck me, I need to pay the rent, but I also need to keep my mind sane, because I don't want to just be fucking slagging stuff off all the time. That's why I try and do it few and far between now, and all my plans that I've got for the future are very much away from that.
I've seen that,
but that's not to say if one of these vloggers comes out with the most ridiculous thing ever, that I'm not going to pick it apart, because I do ultimately enjoy picking things apart.
So rewinding, when that Zoella video dropped, I remember I was talking to Will actually, and we were both like, oh, this kid's gone now. Like, if he plays this situation correctly, you're million plus, and then because I don't know what growth it was, but I remember just being like, fuck me,
it was mad.
Couple of 100,000 subscribers in a week or something like that.
100k a day did you do?
No, I don't know.
It must be 50k a day minimum.
It was like, it was $250,000 in a week. It was $250,000 in about
There you
5
go.
days.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was on that Logan Paul numbers.
Not quite though.
No,
Yeah.
genuinely though, I was like rooting for you to play your cards right at that point, and I felt like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was just expecting. You did a few more videos, but then all of a sudden you were like, you put the cards away and you sort of chilled, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck, like. I mean, I was talking to Will about it because he's the fucking the expert to me on YouTube in terms of like when to do, what to do, and how to get the most out of your buzz. Yeah. And you just stop capitalizing completely. So I mean, you're a man of your word, and what you're saying is you do get bored of that shit. But why didn't you make the most out of that?
Because I did the video on the calendar, and it's funny and whatever, and then I did my follow-up one, which was, I had the idea already to make my own calendar and fill it with even worse stuff, because that was like the natural sequel. And then I felt like any more of that, and then it does just become bullying and attacking someone over and over again. So now if I mention it, and I do still mention it, I will put a little one-liner in a video. She's probably not going to see it, and if she does, it's not going to do. It's not to any degree that them original videos were. And some people felt that even my first video was too much. Do you know what I mean? Like,
really?
Yeah. Like, well, Will uploaded a video where he was saying about, oh, everyone's just making videos on the calendar, and like, oh, leave like the fucking calendar and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that's fair enough. I don't want to ride that wave anymore. That's done.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
done.
about the calendar. What I'm saying is like YouTube. Like, it wasn't long after that video that you were just like, the video slowed down and stopped for ages. Because
I'm known as this guy that critiques people and takes the piss and stuff. It's not necessarily how I want to be known, but I'm good at it. But I can't. I'm not passionate enough to do it all the fucking time. It's draining. I'm actually quite a happy person. Like, I'm actually quite a chirpy person. I'm quite an emotional person, for sure, right? For sure. And this is going to sound really wanky and soppy, but I do actually have a lot of love. So to go onto YouTube every fucking week and go, brah, brah, that zaps the fucking life out of you sometimes.
And you don't want to be known for that. It really reminds me of when I got known for the Newcastle rant videos, and I was like, this is a window into me after watching a Newcastle game, really pissed, and right after the game's finished. Yeah. This isn't what you're not getting the regular version of me during the week. No. And I began to hate those videos, and I've taken a lot of them down.
I don't know if this is a compliment or not, but I see a lot of myself in you, because I think you're a very emotional person as well, as we later saw in the original Logan Paul video. But when I first started watching your videos, when you were doing the football hangover, you were very similar to me, and you were slagging footballers off and swearing, and that was funny as fuck. Like, I'd watch it, laugh all the time, and then you brought the podcast out, and you was putting your own emotion into things, your own thoughts into things, and I was thinking, fuck me, this isn't just a big lad that fucking is, do you know what I mean? Like, you've got another dimension to you, and that's when you became a lot more likable to the public, and that's when I was like, this guy's actually class, like, and then I warmed to you, and you warmed to everyone else, and that's kind of like what I want to do. I see the funny things. I see the funny side of things more than I see the shit side of things. I hope sometimes that crosses over and the lines are blurred. But that's what I want to do. I don't just want to constantly be calling people out for it. Plus, another reason the video's dried up is because as you said, when my eyes lit up because the calendar was so bad, I then found that nothing else is going to be that bad. Right. Because everyone's going to tone down a little bit. And if I then go from that to, I know Ollie White did his Christmas stuff, which was mental as well, but then in January and February, just because someone's got a new t-shirt out, how boring is that going to get? I feel like that's going to kill the channel more than just me not uploading.
Right.
You want to make that transition that a similar way that I have to just to break out of that box that people want to put you in now, because you kind of put yourself there a little bit, as did I with the football things. Yeah. So this is where I've noticed you're thinking about doing stand-up, documentaries, boxing, all that sort
magazine.
Of being just growing from where you are now. Yeah. But if I'm not mistaken, in that time also, you had a death in the family as well, didn't you? Yeah.
So last year,
Are you alright to talk about this? Is
Yeah,
this okay?
yeah. December. It was a weird one as well, right? Because so my granddad died, my dad's dad, and it was a weird one for me because it resonated with me when you were saying to Logan Paul about how he didn't take death seriously, because I was like, fuck, like I'm so lucky, touch wood, that aside from that, the case that we're talking about, I've never really experienced death like at all. My great nan died, as everyone
they
says,
do, yeah.
when I was like 10, I want to say. So I never really experienced it. And the thing that sort of give my head a wobble a little bit was when my granddad died. He found out he had bone cancer 2 weeks before he died, and he died a day after my dad's birthday. And so obviously my dad took it bad. I took it quite badly, and it wasn't the death that got to me. It was the fact that because I was never that close to my granddad, some members of my family who lived closer to him were kind of almost like, well, why are you feeling bad about it?
Yeah.
And I remember I went to, this is mental, I've never told this story before, but I went to his funeral and I was on the second row. So all his kids were there, he had quite a few, and then the grandkids were there. And I remember a certain person in my family who was closer to my granddad than I was saying, why are they on the second row? Why is he on the second row? And I'm getting upset, mainly because the whole time I'm looking at my dad, and it's the first time I've seen my dad choke up, and that's hard to fucking take, as I'm sure you can imagine. So I'm getting choked up, and I'm trying to keep strong for my sister, and people are saying, you can't be upset, and that spun my head so much that I then went on a bit of a downward slope after
I've seen that.
And I kind of thought, like I said to you a minute ago, I am emotional. I do have more to me than just fucking slagging things off. And then the videos became secondary. I didn't care enough about.
Yeah, I could feel that.
Yeah.
It was weird because you'd had such success, and you went from like, I feel like the next big thing on YouTube for like that period, and then it was like I'm just going to give this a break for a bit. And I was like, wow, like he's taking a break it felt like, because I didn't know what was going on with this, but I was like, oh, what's he doing? Do you know what I mean? I think during that period I became actually angry, and that's what ruined the comedy side of things.
That's partly grief though, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
You've got to be happy to take the piss. I feel when I'm on form, I know I'll feel it before I get on camera. I'm in a good mood. Yeah, I can't get on camera and be funny in a bad mood.
No,
it's very hard.
And that's part of the problem, isn't it? I think everyone's sort of I mean, maybe if you've had death in the family or whatever, you've witnessed people going through grief and sort of trying to. Some people blame other people, and they say things
funerals in general. There's always undertones of like stuff going on,
resentment, and those
like
sorts of,
the resentment is a vibe. And I've been to some funerals where it's like, you didn't really love them. What you doing? Like it's that sort of almost like a fight for who's hurting the most. And I've seen some people go to funerals and cry, and I know it's just because they think that that's what you're supposed to do, and not because they're actually feeling that feel like.
But because my immediate reaction to that is, I feel quite sorry for that person that they don't know how to feel in that way. Because, and I'm not saying that looking down.
No, it's almost like a performance for themselves more tin anything, to show the world how they're fucking so. I went to about 6 funerals by the time I was like 24. Like it was like one a year.
That's
that point. Sad. So I got used to it, but as a people watcher, you start spotting shit after like the 3rd fucking funeral. You're like, oh, that's happening again. That's happening again.
Is that not quite? Do you, because you're both quite emotional guys? Do you not look at those people and feel a little bit sorry that they can't feel? Or they feel that they have to perform to other people when it's such an emotional situation? Because it almost feels like they don't understand then. These people are doing it not because they're like, I'm sad, therefore I'll cry, which is what you'd imagine a normal person feels. They're sort of like, I'm supposed to be sad, so I think I'm going to have a cry and see how that works. Do you know what I mean? They're almost testing it out. There's something quite sad about
people
that.
Are strange. That's it. Like we aren't. There's no set menu for what you're supposed to feel, especially when someone dies. But like equally. Like sometimes the people I've been closest to, the less I've cried at the funeral, because I've been that hell bent on keeping a brave face for it. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas when I'm at the back or whatever, and there's not any pressure on me, because I've got up and spoke at funerals and stuff like that before, and it's fucking heavy. But obviously when you're not under that pressure and you can just be in the corner, I don't know. That's probably where I've let it go the most, really.
I also think it's a bit of a problem when other people tell you how to be sad. Do you know what I mean? So when you're at a funeral, if someone is crying and you're not, it's sort of like, well, you should be sad as well. Why aren't you crying? And if you're not crying, there's sort of, you should feel guilty for not being as sad as I am. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is unusual. Like, it really blinds people to so much. And then I imagine they get away from the funeral, and I think you, to some extent, had there was a real sense of perspective in your life. Like, none of that YouTube shit matters.
You definitely seem to, like, have woke up a little bit in the last year. Like, I've seen you grow up a fuck ton, but, like, only because we do the same job. We're quite similar thinkers, and I recognise some of the little things that you're doing as, like, growing up. I can see it, because sometimes I forget that you're like 5 years younger than me or whatever. Well, how old are you?
25.
There you go then.
40.
There you go. What do you say?
We're both a little bit older than Jack, is what I'm saying.
You're 1 year younger than me, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 41.
He's 30 this year.
30 this year, so no need to hide it. Some people
milestone.
say I'm still looking at my 20s. You call them live.
Have you seen
What? What have you?
We need to get your skin sorted out. We're going to go to Dr. S show and get that plastic surgery shit together.
Yeah.
We'll both come out looking hot.
Right. Some people say they like men to age gracefully, but it turns out if you come from Newcastle, you pluck yourself until you're hairless.
I had a direct message the other day of literally after my last video. The guy saying, your skin looked terrible in this video, mate. You need to look after yourself.
What?
I was like, what? Fucking hell. I laughed so hard.
Fuck off, Stephen.
No, genuinely. I was like, I'd never had a message on this guy once. I was like, is that really what you choose to get?
mental.
Probably watches me every week.
Yeah.
Never left a nice comment in his life. Your skin looks fucking terrible, mate. I thought it was the grade, to be honest, I used on the video.
Blame it on the grade. Blame it on the grade. It looks fine now, mate. It looks fine now.
Yeah.
I think the main issue as well with people evaluating against skin and those sorts of things, when you're younger, maybe you don't realise, or when you don't have bad skin, it's hard to realise what it's like to then feel that. Do you know what I mean? So
luckily I've got thick skin. Fuck me.
But when I mean, yeah, quite literally. But when you're like, there's some of the funniest lines I think you've ever said to me. We were playing Xbox once, and I was like, "Wow, you're really bad at this," and you went, "Curse these hooves," and I was just like. But it's like when you can make fun of it.
I've had a realisation though, like lately, that I've never been good at computer games, like hardly ever, and I'm pretty sure it's these fucking fingers.
Right.
Even the games I love, I'm always like, I'm at best at B. I'm never that guy. I'll never be Ninja. I'm just putting that out there right now.
So you play Fortnite?
I played it once and I was like, this isn't for me.
Not for you. Are you only good at FIFA?
He is.
Is he?
Yeah, it's annoying.
Build up play, great. Finishing terrible. So I can outplay someone, I just can't score.
What would be the average sort of score if you had to pick a score?
I'll beat
line?
him, but that doesn't seem...
2-0, 3-0?
You know what? We can't talk about it right now, but there's something that will prove this fairly soon.
Yeah?
So,
Oh, we can't talk about it. We're going to play a game of FIFA, are we?
No, it's much bigger than that. Yeah, we just can't talk about it yet.
You're going to play 2
I've
games.
got no idea what the fuck he's on about.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's so good about it.
So
I will kill Ryan.
Yeah?
I'll absolutely, like, you're done.
They're bringing the PlayStation 1 back, apparently.
Saw that, yeah.
I requested Metal Gear Solid. That was my favourite game ever.
Did you ever have did you ever have a console before that as well?
Mega Drive, Master System,
Drive.
Sega, basically.
Wow, okay. I remember going to a kid on our street got the first games console on the street. I remember it was a SNES, and everyone was just like...
It was a what?
A SNES, like Super
Nintendo.
Oh, okay, right.
And every kid went to their house. You became like the kid
popular
on the
guy.
street. Yeah. It was actually a twin girls.
Oh, okay.
And everyone went
Probably
round
on benefits.
just to...
Irrelevant.
You know what? Irrelevant, but true. It was that kind of street. Yeah. And...
well, no, double bubble, innit?
Yeah. I remember just watching and being like, wow, this is like, I cannot believe this. And I was watching Super Mario and I remember thinking, I really want to be Super Mario. You get to a point in your life where you stop...
Nobody else was thinking that, Lawrence. No. Nobody else was thinking, I want to be that pixelated Italian pasta-loving man.
Plumber.
Yeah.
I aspire to be a plumber.
Nobody ever thought that.
Why are you both looking down on plumber? It's not what you're having a go at them. They're important people.
Pixelated plumber, though.
Yeah.
Not a real one.
As a young
Anonymity.
kid, a plumber's never at the top of the list,
No, it
is it?
isn't.
No.
It's a bloody good trade.
When
though.
you get older, you realise good trade, good money, but not as a kid.
My dad the other day sold something on online, and this guy came around to pick it up, and he arrived in a gold like pickup truck, full gold. It was like it was like gold.
Yanamai's being all over it.
And he paid for it in a roll of 50s. My dad was just out of interest. What do you do? He went,
I'm Luigi.
Yeah. He went, I've got a mansion. He went, I clean wheelie bins. This man had just made a business out of cleaning the insides of wheelie bins for people.
TGF Bro might want to hire him because they do a lot of wheelie bin activities.
But he got like £1 a ton, but it was so quick for him and so cheap that he does it across the country, and the guy just cleans wheelie bins, and he's a multimillionaire.
There we go.
Honestly, you get a lot of interesting, even cons watching this. I feel like I'm getting a window into what people are going to be thinking about this podcast. Cons going, who gives a fuck, man?
I fucking filmed his bollock shit out on the balcony with him shouting someone's name in the air.
I was saying, what am I doing here? I could be.
Oh, right.
You've been cleaning.
Sure.
Oh, really?
Oh, he's flipped that back now.
Yeah.
And vlogging it.
That's slagging you off, really.
True Geordie
he's on
bin
about the
cleaning.
wage, so.
Yeah, he is. He's
Sidemen bin cleaning video coming soon to Con's channel.
Mini Minter sitting home going, go on. Yeah.
So,
KSI
all of a sudden,
bin.
like, so you've been through this sort of period of a break.
Yeah.
You seem to be coming back to more regular stuff, and you're doing different kind of content, like the recent one about foreigners in Britain and all that sort of stuff. Also thought that the girl using the thumbnail was quite a pretty young woman, for the record.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Good, smart thinking.
Smart.
Yeah.
Did you think of using an ugly person?
Muslim and attractive. Bosh.
Right.
Bush, double bubble.
Yeah.
As Brian often tells me about behind the camera, that's his perfect combination.
There you go.
So,
there you
yeah.
go.
Genuinely, I've never said either way, really.
Yeah.
Religion's never really come into my sort of...
Not fussy.
No, do you know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
you've definitely come into a few
A
religions,
religious
but
woman
never...
might be the way forward for me, though, because they've got sort of taught good morals from day one.
Right. Do you
know
really?
what I
You think
mean?
that crossover well? Is that as a Venn diagram? I wouldn't say it's your best.
Religious
crossover.
women, they tend to be good sort of proper women indoors and sort of stuff like that, don't they?
Right.
You would have to marry her
Do you
I'd
ever
have to get into the religion.
first.
I
Fucking
did.
sticking.
Did you ever have
Yeah.
a kid at school? We had a kid at school. I won't say his name. Lovely guy though. He said he would not have sex until marriage, and left school at 18. Married within a month of leaving school. Married straight away. Straight away babies. Like
Yeah.
couldn't,
Wow.
You know that was incredible.
Religious.
Heavily.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nightmare.
But I sort of thought, I don't think that's why religion tells you. Religion doesn't go be 18.
I've met one of those guys who's heavily. When I was diving, actually, was really heavily religious, dude. What's those one? Is it Mormons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they the ones who have loads of kids and stuff?
I don't think it's like a quota they have to fill.
Yeah.
Well,
to
no,
some
but
extent,
they
though.
have farms and that, and the kids tend to help on the farm and stuff, to my knowledge.
This is really not your area. is
Yeah.
it? Look at that awkward hand grab.
Clearly.
It's also, his next line was, and they got funny little hats.
Yeah. But I remember just being like, I was like, right, okay. And he was diving. He's like, yeah, I'm just doing this for a few years till I've got enough money to sort of live off the land, sort of thing, you know.
But that's the point of living off the land. You don't need any money.
Yeah, I think they needed some sort of a cushion, a financial
I just
cushion.
turned around and genuinely gone, pray harder.
He said, I never forget. I don't know why I remember this guy, but I never forget him going. Yeah, I was like, when's the next one due? And he was like, oh, October, and I was like, so probably laying off her for a while. He went, oh no, when she's pregnant, I kind of keep my hands off her. And I was like, is that your preferred? And he's like, oh, I prefer her pregnant.
How long ago was this?
That was me. So that was me, like 22 years old, listening at 21. I remember being like, I'm learning about the world now, aren't I?
It's sort of like it's sort of like if you go to certain places in the world, it's like that's a sign of fertility for some people. And in certain places,
being pregnant, yeah.
Yeah.
So for
the
him,
number one sign.
For him, that's the first sign that you're fertile. Yeah.
Definitely fertile.
Yeah. But for him, that's something that in that community that might be like a status symbol. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you can get her pregnant, you can have a family. Like, so for him, he's going to value that, and like he's going to reward himself mentally. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he rewarded her by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
With lots of dick.
Yeah. Wow. Do you ever question him? Did you ever sort of debate him?
He was actually a really nice guy. He just seemed a bit off, if that makes sense.
Did Brian have a question? Of course he did.
Well, you've got to remember, I'm on deck with him for 12 hours a day, and all I've got to talk about is him and his weird life. Do you know what I mean?
He didn't control your oxygen supply or anything, though, did he? Like,
no, he could have killed me at any point. Yeah, just.
Yeah,
if you're down there, turn off of the air, like.
You're down there just like drilling away, and suddenly all you hear is "God's gonna get you," and you're like, "What?" Gone.
Yeah.
That would have been harrowing. That's harrowing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, right.
Have fun in hell.
You've had a bit of a break.
Back to the dead granddad.
Yeah.
Right. God bless him. So, all right. So we're laughing and joking, but you know that whole thing with your dad and watching him go through that.
Yeah.
How was that just generally? Like, is he sort of okay in that now, and that has he come to terms with it?
He's sound. He's like my best mate.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've noticed that about you.
Yeah. So to see him cry, that fucks you up, doesn't it? Like, and then exactly what you were saying. There would be points where it's like, I would be crying, and people would go, well, you shouldn't cry. You don't know. But then there would also be the other side of things where I wouldn't cry, and they'd be like, he's crying. Do I look like I don't care? Do you know what I mean?
You feel that guilt, don't you?
Yeah.
Of not, why aren't I crying? Or can I have a good time at any point?
Yeah, and it fucks up your emotions because you don't know how to feel. Like, and
genuinely, I've been thinking about making a video about dealing with grief, because like for this very reason, because when you lose someone, there's no set menu of what you're supposed to do to be okay,
and no one knows until
everyone beats themselves up about, am I hurt enough? Am I hurt too much? Like, what's normal here? And the truth is, there's fucking no normal at all. It's bullshit.
I'll tell you, I went to my granddad's funeral, went to the wake, had a few beers, went back to Norwich and went on a night out.
Yeah.
And it was like, what am I doing? I was in my suit.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I doing? And it's the first time ever in my life that I've told people no when they've asked me for a photo. And I was just like, nah. And they were like, oh, why? I've just been to a funeral, I don't feel up for it. And they must have been thinking, well, why the fuck are you out then? And I couldn't,
because I'm getting steaming fucking drunk.
Yeah, but
because I feel like shit.
I couldn't justify my.
But that's it
to myself.
Loads of people go out after funerals though. It's totally normal.
Is it? See, I don't know. So that video would be spot on.
Not in a like some people. It's a celebration of life type vibe, and then some people just want to get shit faced.
I feel like that was me for
one of my
time.
weird moments with a funeral. I remember I've talked about my cousin a little bit. I was at a funeral, family funeral, with me cousin was there, me younger cousin. He was like my little brother growing up, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he came, and I like looked at him. I was like, "You're off your fucking tits, like on drugs." Yeah, I can see it a fucking mile off. And he always loved these drugs and that. So I was like, look, mate, we're at a fucking family funeral. Someone's died, and I remember talking to him like clear as day. I remember the pub. I remember where we were standing. Everything. I remember being like, if you don't fucking quit this shit, like, because he was an extremist. I knew he wasn't just taking a little bit here and there. I knew he was taking it like to the limit. And I was like, this is going to be your fucking funeral. And sure as fucking 2 years later, I'm at his funeral. Wow. Like, I remember being at his funeral in the fucking pub, being like, this is where I fucking told him, like, this is what was going to happen. It's so fucking mental.
That's really that's quite tragic though, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the worst funeral, to be honest with you. I've been to, obviously funerals are generally sad, but when someone hasn't even had kids, married, like gone to have a life, and it's over before it's even they've realised that, but like he had so much talent. He was 23.
It's that feeling of that loss of life.
He was a DJ. He DJ'd like the biggest clubs in like Newcastle. Went to London, DJ'd there. Like he was one of those people who could just pick anything up and fucking master it. Like he was riding a bike before I was, and he was 2 years younger than me. Like he just had this like knack.
It's just wasted potential, isn't it?
She's got this image of life-size you, Brian now, but on a tiny little bike as a kid. I don't know why.
I'll never forget the day. So I think I might have been like, let's just say I was like 9 and he was 7 or whatever, and he comes fucking pedaling around the corner, no fear whatsoever, and I'm like on my training wheels, like me little fucking cousins just showed me.
Yeah. I
instantly was like, fucking training wheels off now, like I can't be having this. But like he did that with everything, like everything. So I just, now when I go to his fucking gravesite, I'm always a bit like obviously I think he was a fan of YouTube and he knew I was getting into YouTube, but I was just like, I think of how much like he could have done, and they're the worst bittersweet. Like when someone's died in their 40s and 50s, it's really sad and it is too young, but if they've managed to have a life, have a family and do things, there's there's an ongoing story. Then it hasn't fully ended for me.
Yeah.
But with him, it just done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That is really fucking hard.
Yeah. It is the potential, isn't it? It's the wasted potential, and had so much, and yeah, that's pretty dark, mate.
I also think we do part in England. We're terrible at talking about death. We're really bad as a culture of talking about
Just emotions in general.
emotions, but then that really impacts on us talking about like loss of life and those. And it tends to be that the only time we tend to talk about it is when we're talking about cancer or these sorts of things. And people talk, well, that puts it in harsh perspective, doesn't it? Yeah, it puts it in harsh perspective. But there's a very weird reaction to that. There's very few people who will then go, well, I'm going to go and live every day to the fullest. And we're on. It's not. There's. And I don't know if things like YouTube and Instagram and Twitter help that, or sort of put more of a veneer between you and.
Oh, I think it definitely hinders it.
Yeah.
Hinders what? Sorry.
Hinders that feeling that you need, or that feeling that I feel like I would need to go out and fulfill the potential all the time. We can't, not numb, but I'm trying to find the right word for it.
I'm confused as to what you mean. Like,
as a culture, I think we distance ourselves from engaging with loss and like.
yeah, I get a lot of DMs like about that, about people dealing with loss and sadness and stuff like that. But when you look at your Twitter timeline, there's very little about that, isn't there? So publicly, people tend to hold back.
Yeah, I see. I thought you meant a little bit more on like just the grieving side of things. Like it's so hard to grieve when you have to keep up a social profile and you have all these people watching you all the time. You need these big breaks, and sometimes you need breaks bigger than YouTube will allow you to have. Otherwise, your channel dies. Every YouTuber goes for it. I think it's when you're not uploading, even if you're just being lazy, you're constantly thinking, I need to fucking upload soon, because this every day, every second that ticks by is you becoming more irrelevant, as the Pauls would say. So
it does play on your mind fully.
Yeah, all the time. So even when you're not uploading, you're thinking about it. And if you've got other things going on in your life and you're still trying to upload, and to a certain extent with me on Twitter, I'm kind of playing a character as well. Although I post what I believe, I heighten it for
Of
obvious
course, you want the
reasons.
punchlines in there.
But as I was saying to you a minute ago, when I was going through all that, and I'm not using that as an excuse, because I could have easily taken a different route and been like, oh, just fine. But I found myself getting genuinely angry, which hindered a lot of things. So, like the Will and E beef, the famous Will and E beef that everyone brings up, that's my fault. Like that's me from a place of being so angry that just in myself, that when he's tweeting something that I didn't know that it was a joke. Like I just didn't. I didn't read into it. I didn't have any time to read into it. It was me. Everyone knows what it's about. It's about the Hello World thing. I tweeted about it. As I'm tweeting about it, I'm constantly thinking,
what are people going to come at you with?
Or not so much. I kind of feel like I sound like a broken record here, because YouTubers are fucked up again.
And you're on the defence automatically, sort of thing.
Yeah, so I'm tweeting about it, and I'm like, £100 for a meet and greet. That's shit. And then I see Will's tweeted, have a day off, and because we DM every now and then, I thought he could have just DM'd that. And then I find it funny now, looking back from where it was, like, this is funny, and I should have come back with an equally funny comeback, and I usually would do that, but because I just felt it as a bit of a kick, because I was like, and then I think I retorted with like, well, you would have
that spiraled out of control.
Yeah, then. I said he would have made a video about that had he not been friends with those YouTubers, which I believe now, I still believe, but then I went on to really be silly, and I mentioned it in a video. And I thought to myself, I didn't need to mention it in a video, because whether or not I believe, like you've done things I disagree with, I've done plenty that you disagree with, right? But we have this kind of level of respect where
there's
when
an
it's
understanding, isn't there?
When they're your mates, like, and especially as like Will came onto my podcast that I started up when it was shit and it was in a basement, and he didn't need to do that. Like, so I owed him a bit more respect. I should have left a tweet, even if I was a bit angry in my tweet. I could have kept that up. It's only a fucking tweet. Deal with it. But then to make a video and diss him like that, it was kind of like taking it too far. And as soon as I uploaded it, I was like, I didn't get any real backlash from it. But I just felt bad in myself.
I don't think
no need.
Well, the thing is, you didn't from my point of view, as mates with both of you, it was a fucking awkward situation.
Oh yeah,
'cause you're
100%.
like, oh shit.
And I've never ever disliked him ever.
Well, clearly not.
Even when he made
Try working with him.
Even when he made the comeback video, I didn't think it was very good. Like I didn't think the points in it were that strong.
I think at that point, so from the way I viewed the whole situation, was when you didn't take him the right way.
Yeah.
Because Will says shit like that to me all the time.
100%.
He's an arsehole,
Yeah.
but he's like, you love him for it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I knew. It's easy sitting here saying that now, and someone could be sitting there and saying you're only saying that because of everything you've just talked about. But I didn't feel like you were in a good space then,
Right.
and you took it the wrong way because of how you were feeling generally.
And for somebody who's constantly commentating and taking the piss and trying to be a comedian,
Yeah.
I should have always taken that as a joke,
Absolutely.
like always. And that I have way worse stuff said to me by people that I know genuinely hate me. So when a mate's saying something like that, I should have just come back with something witty. But as I said, people say now like, oh, what's this beef with Will and me?
You squashed it ages ago.
I apologised to Will months ago in the DMs, and I'm thankful that he took it well, because he is a nice guy. We can joke about him as much as we want, but he's a nice guy.
Very nice off camera.
But when I get all these comments all the time saying, have a day off, mate, that's fine, that's funny, I see the funny side of it now, keep them coming, I do not care. But what I do care about is when people are like, what's happening with the Will and E beef? Because I've always ignored it, because it's like, I don't want there to be any. Even when he made that whole video cussing me up, I was still watching I'd still watch his next upload.
No, but I was well aware of that at the time. But I think when it's a little bit like rap music for me, and you two in this are like skilled lyricists, and when one says something about the other one then feels the need to retaliate, even if there's no actual problem.
No.
It's almost like, to me, I view you as the two best commentary guys in that field.
Right.
So you have to respond. It's almost like he had to respond, and that, as soon as you put it on video, it's like, right, I've got to come back with a track now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it as much as, and then at that point, Will is thinking like a rapper would think of, what's everything I can possibly say?
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's not even about do I like or dislike this guy. It's I've got to show what I am here to everyone else.
Yeah.
Very much like the rap world.
Yeah.
Was it partly that you were feeling a little bit like, I should have a day off? Not like have a day off, but I should be changing things up a little bit. So when you then heard that from someone that you respect or someone you like, it sort of strikes a bit of a nerve.
Yeah, 100%. It was a combination of two things. The first thing that I've already spoke about is I just fucking hate the world. So anyone that talks to me, I don't, but in that moment, it was, oh, fuck off. Like anyone could have said it, and it just happened to be him. And then there is another case of this constant battle that we have, and probably me more so than most, where it's like I'm churning out the same stuff, and it's getting boring to me. So I dread to think what it's getting to other people, and then you hit the nail on the head when he says it. It's kind of like, I'm so aware, like when you said it, when you get a comment that's already been playing on your mind, I'm so aware that that's accurate.
You can't tell me anything I don't already know about my stuff.
It's just like, I have nothing really to say other than just fuck off. Just fuck off. Like, do you know what I mean?
So,
like,
alright, so I totally get where you're coming from. I've been there.
Yeah.
Lately, you've definitely seemed in a much better place mentally to me anyway, from the outside looking in. You've started getting into boxing, and you're doing all these other ventures. Let's talk about the boxing first. You were like heavily critical, obviously, like it's your job to be, of the YouTube boxing thing, and you made all the good jokes that we expected you to do, but all of a sudden you're like, I'm actually kind of liking this now. It's hard not to, isn't it? What was it? How have you ended up going into a fucking boxing gym all of a sudden?
So first of all, I'm the biggest hypocrite on YouTube. Remember that. Like,
I love it.
We've got a title. Finally, biggest hypocrite on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm very self-aware. But I think when it first came about, I was like, that's silly. They're YouTubers. Like, come on. Like, it was more so like, I don't know what I should. As you said, I've done a lot of growing up, right? I feel like when a YouTuber throws their hat into the ring, so to speak, in a new genre, they should always be applauded, right? Because they're not actually hurting anyone, they're just trying something new. Like, I think KSI's music is absolutely terrible, right?
Okay.
But
That's your personal opinion.
that's my opinion, right? I don't dislike him as a person, he's never done anything to me, but I admire the fuck out of him, right? Because, and that may be hypocritical of things I've said about him on YouTube when he said about the mental health thing, because I'm quick to jump on these things, but just because I don't think he's good at one thing, I would still never be able to do that, and I would never be able to do it any better. So I admire the fuck out of that. Like, again, it's like me slagging off an archery video. There's no point. That might be the best archery video I've ever made, but me slagging it off because I don't like archery, it doesn't make sense.
So you to target them, isn't it?
Yeah. Fuck's sake. Yeah. But so what was I saying? So with the boxing thing, I was very.
At what point did it change for you?
I was very much like, people come up to me on a night out before the Zoella KSI fight, and they'd say, who do you think's going to win? And I'd be this fucking edgy character going, don't really care about it, or stupid, it's just two YouTubers.
You want a picture?
Yeah. And then when it was on, I was the first person watching it, right? And I'm sat there in my bed, right, eating a pot noodle, while these two YouTubers are absolutely smashing it, right? Even Joe, who got beat the fuck up, yeah, he's in there fucking doing it, right? And he's laughed at himself loads since then.
Yeah.
I have nothing but admiration for them people. So I will always tweet jokes about the YouTube community, right? But just slagging them off for actually trying something new doesn't make any sense, and it didn't stand by how I felt anymore. So when the build-up was happening to the recent fight, I was all for it. I was really involved in it. People would come up to me and ask what I think, and I'd give them my opinion. I'll speak to them all day long. I was lucky enough to be in your BoxTuber app. Like, I was involved in it.
To be fair, I did get you a ticket for the fight, but you were busy at a gig. So
I was at Reading Festival.
Next time, eh?
Yeah. I would have.
Next time, Jack, you won't get that invite again.
Well,
Brian's a vengeful son. Yeah.
So it'll not be a problem.
I would have loved to have been there. I would have done. And I.
So you were watching it after the fact, were you?
Yeah, I wanted to watch it when I was there. I wanted to stream it. Like, people were in the crowd. I was watching Kendrick Lamar at the time. And I don't know much about Kendrick Lamar, but I saw there was this group around me had all recognised me and all knew who I was, and they just kept coming up to me every minute. What's the score? Yeah, it's the sort of thing. And I was like, just because I'm a YouTuber doesn't mean I fucking... Oh, okay. My YouTube censors are telling me that KSI is winning the first two rounds. Logan's winning the first two rounds. But I was so, like, I'm watching this... He's meant to be the top of the rap game. I don't know. I'm showing my age now.
This is one meant to be the top of the range rapper I got today.
Because I got a pipe like that.
Yeah. You know we're
treating him like a DFS couch.
This is
meant
so
to be top of the
different.
range.
Dizzy Rascal right now. This is so different to Dizzy. Wow.
This was meant to be a top of the range rapper, I was saying.
He's actually making you look like the coolest guy in the room, Lawrence.
I do like amazing. My rap.
It's amazing.
And I was just thinking, I'm watching this, everyone's going nuts, but me and this group around me are just more focused on what's going on in that fight. And I just sort of fell in love with it there. And 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, there's a guy called the Halal Ham.
Yeah.
He messaged me out the blue and was like, do you want to fight me on the undercard?
Wow.
And instantly I was like, I know he used to box and stuff, but I was like, God, get on that undercard would be good. So I said yeah, and then obviously you think about it, you think the height, the weight, none of it makes sense. And then Josh Peters called me out. And instantly I was like, because I'm quite self-deprecating anyway, I was like, he'll beat me up. He will beat me up. But this could be quite funny.
I don't know, like, I think you're very, very decently matched in physical size.
We're pretty much the same height. I think he's 6'4", I'm 6'3"
I think
and
he
a
might
half.
be an inch taller than you,
Yeah. And he called me out, and I was like, I sat there for an hour and I was thinking, right, and he said he knew the right people that could make that happen. I was like, fuck it, let's just do it. And then since that day, something in me has changed completely. Wow. And I can't box, right? I do not know what I'm doing. I'm only 4 weeks in, for fuck's sake. But every single day I'm training, I'm eating well, I'm so much happier. And I think, fuck, this is what these YouTubers have been doing the whole time. Their life's great, and I feel like I don't really care what my numbers are doing online now. I have actually something better to do. I've not gone out drinking, partying. I was doing that every fucking weekend. Like, it was a problem. So I feel like it's only a positive thing.
Do you feel that difference in physicality affects you as well? Like you do look better.
Oh, you a better shag now is what we're asking.
I mean, your girlfriend must have noticed the benefits. Do you know what I mean?
It's only been a month, but
Yeah. But let's put it this way: he's fertile. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
My body is changing quickly.
It's the second puberty,
sure,
really, isn't it?
because you are you're a lean, tall dude, so it probably won't take long for the things to change.
Yeah, and it's my mind that's changed the most. I actually now find myself defending these YouTubers when I'm reading articles and they're going, they're not boxers. I don't think either of them are saying they're boxers. I know KSI's got bigger aspirations to go on, and he probably could, but I then now find myself trying to defend
sort of weird,
them.
isn't it?
Yeah. What's that?
It's a bit like when that bad one in the Power Rangers rejoined the Power Rangers. Sort of
He was the Green Ranger, and then he became the White Ranger.
Yeah. That's basically what you are. This White Ranger.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take that.
Dressed
So, yeah, 'cause
Tommy.
for me, I don't know. Like at the time when I was going out on the piss, because you said like you like the booze and all that, and you get in the habit of doing that, and it starts off. It's like anything like that sort of habit. It starts off fun, and then at some point after a while you're kind of like, is this still fun? You know, is this really what I wanted?
Yeah.
And then like lately I've gone on a fucking diet and started doing cardio and stuff like that more, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, there's something in my head telling me like, all right, someone might be sitting there leaving a comment saying, move your arse, you fat fuck, but like, yeah, pretty much like that's exactly what it feels like. We're not made to sit on the couch or sit around getting pissed all the time. Like, yeah, that's fun, like every now and then, like in small doses and stuff, like one night a week, 2 nights a week, fair enough, but like to the degree I did it at one point, like bad for us, like, so
It's also when you start having the same night out over and over again.
Oh.
And you start to hear the same songs, and you're like, oh, Mr. Brightside's on again. Fucking
Mate,
great.
you don't know how accurate that is.
Yeah.
You really don't. Like, I go to the same place in Norwich every week. Yeah, well, I did. And they have the same, it's a propaganda night, they have the same playlist on, song for song. So a song will come on, I'll go, be this one next, and it is. I go out,
fuck me.
this obviously the same bouncers, the same people. I have people coming up to me. It's their third time they've asked me for a photo.
Right.
And that's fine.
It's dark in a club. You've got to nail it.
Because in Norwich, there's not many YouTubers, so it's a bit like Newcastle for me, I guess. You're like very recognisable and stuff.
Yeah,
I thought you were
I
gonna
come
say
to
Lonely
London
Planet.
and no one will say it. You get one,
Really?
one person maybe if I'm popping in and out. In Norwich, it's because it is a small, like same with you in Newcastle. It's like it's all the time, and I kind of because they were obviously above 18 and I could stand there and have a chat with them. That was kind of a reason why I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the attention. So I was going out all the time, partying, doing all this stuff, and then it writes off your next few days.
Yeah.
Because you're hungover.
Yeah.
And
I've seen the Insta stories.
Yeah. And you're eating shit and you're not doing anything. But now I've basically what I did at the start of this month when I decided to make this change. I didn't know how seriously I was going to take this. I'm shocked myself. I know it's still early days, so I don't want to end up looking silly in 2 months if I've stopped, but I'm pretty certain I've got it locked in my head now. Wow. First thing I did was when I said I was stopping, I've arranged a pub crawl for the end of this month, because it's like I can't stop it altogether, because ultimately I do enjoy it, but that's my goal. And then once I do that,
you have to do that.
we reset.
Right.
And we do that.
We go again.
Yeah.
Not
Exactly.
genuinely though.
Yeah.
Otherwise, so I stopped drinking for 6 months once, and I was doing a lot of, believe it or not, I was a lot lighter. I was about 9 stone lighter than what I am now. I hadn't discovered weightlifting at that point. I was into cardio only. So in the same day, I would swim, run, and like do some other form of like rowing or tennis or something later on at night just to get everything going.
Yeah.
I was like obsessively exercising, and I remember at the end of the 6 months, I was like, nah, I need a fucking drink now. I need a day, like a whole fucking
Well, you'd
week
earned
off.
it by that point.
You'd
earned it by that point.
Yeah, I could run. I could do like a 6 mile run as if it was nothing. Like, and I was doing, I don't know, was it a mile and a half? I could do a mile and a half in under 10 minutes. Like I was like fast, like because these long legs at the time, I had that fucking Usain Bolt like fucking stride, and I was not carrying anywhere near the weight I'd got now. But then I remember when I smelt a can of lager, I was like, fuck me, it smelled like petrol. because I hadn't touched a drop in 6. It was like the alcohol was so overpowering in my nostrils. I was like, whoa, that does not smell like how it used to. It fucking 4 cans. I was absolutely wrecked.
Yeah.
4 cans. I was pissed.
And also, you're doing so much cardio that you've got very little muscle and fat in your body to be able to deal with that.
No, seriously, if I showed a picture of people, they'd be like, that's barely even the same person. Like,
really?
Because then after I'd got bored of cardio, I was like, all right, I'm going to try weights now. And I was just a natural weightlifter. And that's when I was like, oh shit, this is what I'm made for. And then I started eating more and I was like, protein. And then you think, oh, go on, then I can have a burger, that's protein. And then before I knew it, I was like lifting really heavy, but also eating shit. And that's where my weight gain came from. And then then I had the death in the family, and then I had like 6 months off the gym, but then the eating kept. And before I knew it, I'm like 20, I was nearly 25 stone at one point.
But not purely muscle.
No, I was just thick and like heavy.
I don't want to die, Jerry.
Like I was fat and muscular at the same time. And I know I'm still like that now to a degree, but like I was really thick at that point. But yeah, I weighed myself the other day. As I was like, I need to go on a diet. I'm starting a diet. Today's the day. Get on the scales. Find out where the fuck you are. And I obviously know from the Logan and JJ fight, they were 185 pounds, and they're about. Logan's my height, or maybe an inch shorter than me.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
They were 185 pounds. I get on the scales, 312 pounds. I was like, I'm fucking like 130 fucking pounds heavier than Logan Paul.
That's more than you get for CPM for a video nowadays.
Like I couldn't even compete in the USA. I'm over the weight limit basically to fight.
It made me muscle now, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
How did that make you feel when you saw that number?
Relieved, because I feel
400.
I feel so. My heaviest was 340 pound. Was the heaviest I've ever been in my life. So I feel
Deliberately.
No, that was just when I was weightlifting, but also sitting on the couch eating all day. Just to
put this in perspective, Rikishi's 400 pounds. Do you know what I mean? Like that's, and I think Rikishi's a big guy. Do you know what I mean?
I think, is he alive? God rest his soul. Anyway, the point is,
being 400 pounds.
I feel 312 pounds, lads.
Right.
I feel heavy. But
you're still so dynamic, and I watch you. You don't walk like a guy who's 312 pounds. You definitely don't run like a guy who's 312 pounds.
No, this is the thing. People give me so much shit, but I'm actually an athlete. Like, I know that sounds silly.
It does.
But like, I've got good mind to body movement. Like I move like a shorter, smaller guy.
Yeah.
And like when we did the NFL videos, I was quick. Like I was quicker than fucking Joel from Cheeky Sport in the fucking little trial that we did.
Yeah.
And Joel's a fucking fast little lad.
And a fit guy.
That was pretty mad.
I am naturally gifted in that. But anyway, so I was like, I feel fucking heavy. I feel fat. I feel out of shape. I'm gonna get in shape, so this is my thing now.
Are you going to be going to sort of Weight Watchers? Oh, Glenda, I think I put on £1 this week.
No.
Imagine him sat there.
Imagine him at the back.
Did you know how fucked up my brain is? The first thing I thought was, bet you'd pull there.
Yeah.
Because there's all the women in that room feeling a bit low, needing some confidence boosting.
In walks.
You look fantastic.
How many sins would he be?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah. You know, Siemens low calorie is what Brian was saying. Yeah.
Even
Do you even have to note that down? Is what Brian's saying. Yeah, don't note that one down, love. Don't worry about that.
But mentally, you get... so I started cardio this week, and like, because I've always done weightlifting, but there's something about cardio that just feels different. It's better for you.
You get that runner's high. It's
it's
good.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
He's getting that walker's high. Do you know? Yeah, and not from the crisps. Although, do you still do the intense walk?
I mentioned this on a podcast once, and I was like, intense walking burns fat, not muscle, and it's really good for you, like walking quickly, because you haven't got that impact on your body, so your muscles tend to not be affected by it.
Right.
And Lawrence was like taking the piss out of me, and then Zoella came on and was like, he's totally fucking right, Lawrence, you're full of shit.
People still send me Zoella's videos when Joe's on the treadmill just doing an intense walk. They'll still forward it to me and going, he's doing it again.
Well, hang on. So Joe was saying you can do it.
He says it works. Obviously, it works.
Intense walking.
Is that when you don't bend your legs? You sort of run.
It's a fast walk
basically, but it burns fat and not as much muscle as what running would, for example.
It's it's not so much that the actual, it's just the concept of saying an intense walk.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's like an oxymoron.
Yeah.
And so,
I've seen how you walk, and you pretty much nailed it for the record.
Yeah. Like, I'm
like a fucking grasshopper.
Yeah, like my strides are huge.
Yeah.
And I'll stride out when I'm going down the street. Yeah.
What a weird podcast this is.
Yeah.
it's been like that, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, mostly that.
Yeah.
So you're going to be getting in the ring probably with Josh Peters.
Well, probably. I don't know, because I've heard on the grapevine from the powers that be,
Marvin Gaye.
Casper Lee is in boxing.
Who is it? And who is it?
Who is what?
What you heard on the grapevine?
I've heard that Josh isn't a big enough pull. That's what I've heard from people. I've heard, and this could just be the person that I'm speaking to, could just be blowing smoke. I don't know. I've heard that I was on a list of like potentials, and I don't know how much, if this is true or not. This could all be absolute bollocks, but you're more in this world than I am. I've heard that when the previous fight happened, because don't get me wrong, I could just literally just be a fucking nobody YouTuber that's just poking my head through the wall going, I could be on the undercard. JJ could watch us and go, there's not a fucking chance, right? But I've heard that
could be you, yeah.
Everyone's listening would get to the fucking point, because I'm on the electricity.
Sorry. So I've heard that JJ chose all the undercard boys.
Right.
So when it happens in America, it's all Logan that chooses it, right? And that it's going to be,
Okay.
it's just a no. But I got told that I was on a standby list, but I would have to pay my own flights and accommodation, which is fine. But they said that Josh wasn't a big enough pull. Like
to be on the undercard.
To be on the undercard. But because
How many subscribers has
he's
Josh
got more than me, but I guess because I'm so outspoken, people would love to see me get beat up.
It's not just that though.
That'd be fantastic.
I think Josh would understand where I'm coming from with this is relevancy in terms of you're very well known, especially in the UK, because of what you've come. Josh isn't as outspoken as you. His content's very different.
He's a YouTuber's friend.
Yeah,
that's what he is. So
I understand what you're saying.
You've seen his Comedy Central stuff. So I think some of it's quite.
I've
funny.
not seen it.
Right,
no.
it's all right actually. It's
yeah?
pretty good. Yeah,
He's got decent delivery for sure.
Yeah,
but
he
hasn't made the a bit like myself, like there's a lot of YouTubers with the same amount of subscribers as me who aren't as well known as me because of the types of videos I've made in the past. I mean, I can't guarantee it, but I'm fully confident I could get you on the undercard.
Yeah. Well, if you can, I would fight pretty much anyone, as long as it's not you.
Vanderlei,
or someone mental, or
Mike Bisping.
Evander Holyfield's coming out of retirement, mate. You in? No.
So I would fight any of the Caspers, Alfies, like that, like
all of that lot.
And I've got way more to lose.
Like
from that
a
than
Royal
they
Rumble with those guys. So they come in, you just have to knock them down, then the next one's running down the ramp.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, Casper made a video about you at one point, and then he deleted it. And I remember thinking to myself, oh no,
what have you done there, Casper?
I've met him before. He seems like a nice guy.
So lovely.
But I view you as just going to be honest here. I view you as a really talented motherfucker, and what you do, there isn't anyone better. There's people on your level, but not. I wouldn't say anyone better. When it comes to breaking someone down in a funny way, like I've always said, you're the guy. So when someone tries to go up against you who's from the old school, where they're not versed in putting that level of work and effort into a video, and they just have to sort of, hi guys, with all due respect to Casper, I just knew this was going to end badly for him. What was it like for you watching that video?
I got a tweet. I was at a premiere at the time, don't you know, for Ready Player One, and I got a tweet saying that Casper was making a response. I was like, fuck. Like, okay, it's the first time this has really happened where someone's responded. And
how did you feel about yourself in that moment? Because they've never done that yet.
No, I was nervous because I was like, this could end me. He's got 7-8 million subscribers, so this could end me. But we'll see what happens. I was pretty confident in the reasons that I called him out in the first place, so I kind of had that fallback.
Did you not? Because I remember when Logan mentioned me, I was like, jackpot, motherfuckers, I've done it.
Right.
But
again, don't stop doing that. That's,
yeah, but the point is you've now clearly broke through into that in the past, they wanted to keep you down.
Yeah.
Mentioning him only validates him further. Let's act like he doesn't exist, and now all of a sudden you're relevant enough for them to feel like this is how you're becoming a genuine threat at this point, because you're saying so much that.
Yeah, it didn't ever really bother me that much. It wasn't one of these like MGK things where like Eminem's mentioned him, so that validates him. Like, I genuinely was never bothered. Like,
I'm sort of like an MGK right now, actually.
Yeah.
He's sort of winning me over. I watched his interview. Sorry to take away from what you're saying.
Is that on the Breakfast Club?
And I was like, oh shit, you're actually coming across as legit here. Like,
yeah.
It works.
Yeah, I agree with that, to be fair. But what was I saying?
So you watched the response video.
Yeah. So only reason that I was slightly anxious is I thought he could absolutely ruin me if he picks me apart and picks the right things, because there's a lot out there. Right, there is. And he didn't. And when I watched it, I kind of felt like his response was better than anything I could have ever hoped for.
Yeah,
because it was so poor.
He played into your hands fully.
Oh, it was so bad. And the fact that he was sat with Josh, and it was like, oh, come on. It was, and then when he deleted it the next day, it was just like,
and that made it even. It was almost like, this is car crash here, mate.
You have to live and die by your words. And he's just, yeah. It could not have gone.
I think in defence of Casper, it's just not him.
It's not him.
And it was him trying to beat you at your own game.
Yeah.
And if he was gonna come in, do damage to your sort of who you are, he had to do his style and I guess play the moral high ground a little bit is the best thing he could have done at that point, and instead of trying to do the funny one-liners and stuff like that, Yeah,
Josh said that when he came onto my podcast, I wasn't really. He says I go online and I say things like nasty things, but when he sees me in person, I'm not really like that. I was like, well, that's a good thing. You're basically telling everyone he's actually really all right in person.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I think it'll be fun if I get involved in this YouTube boxing thing.
I rate that,
because
though.
I will. Whether or not I get beaten the fuck out of in the first round, I will win the fight before the fight, if that makes sense.
No, you're coming to McGregor this at the start, aren't you?
100%.
McGregor can fucking back it up.
I instantly thought to myself, Josh versus JaackMaate doing like an in the middle interview with you guys would be so fun, because Josh is funny. I've got to give credit. Josh is a funny guy, and I know that you will both say some hilarious, and you'll I think embrace the spirit of what this would be about, really.
Yeah.
So
that's why I warmed to Logan throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because he very much came at it from an entertainer's point of view. And although, he was trying a little bit to be Conor McGregor and whatnot, I think it's hard not to be, because Conor's at the top of that game. And if you're taking, as we said at the start of the podcast, if you're taking inspiration from someone like that, you're going to be. And I really warmed to Logan because he made it fun for me to watch. JJ for me was the athlete who knows what he's doing and was really fucking impressive. And from an amateur, he inspired me to want to try boxing, but Logan inspired me to try and up my entertainment game.
I think that's what I realised when, as it went on, was like when you first see Logan doing the fucking forest video, you're like, this guy is so out of touch, so not self-aware. But then as time went on, like you said, I think because I watched your analysis in the Gloves Are Off, you sort of realise he is quite self-aware actually, and he did make a huge mistake, but he gets where he is now. I think it'd be sick if he did it, because like no one can then say, oh well, he's actually frightened of these guys and he's just sitting in his shed fucking talking shit. If you get in the ring, no one can fucking say anything at that point.
I'd love to do it
and do well. I'd love to see you do well. I kind of don't want you to talk it down too much, because I want you to get in that mentality you could actually win this.
Well, you're 6'3", you're a big old boy, so like you're definitely going to be capable of something.
You genuinely could do something. Do you know what I mean? Not just walk in and go, well, it's just a bit of fun, isn't it? And then just bang. Because
obviously that is a way I'd play it. Because I don't have any self-belief in the ring, but I know I can do all the other preamble shit. But just last thing I'll say on it is, my family, my dad's side, they're all from a boxing background. So my cousin was a professional boxer. His name was genuinely Rocky. Not making that up.
Really?
Rocky Dean. Google
wow.
it. Yeah, that's a genuine thing. They have their own gym. Right, it's the bee's knees, and I can use it whenever I want.
Said nobody ever about a boxing gym.
It's the bee's knees. Yeah, that's like when I first went in the boxing gym. I used it for a video. I went, I quite like this boxing malarkey.
Do you know my favourite bit of that video is when you went,
That
that was
They asked him for a 1-2,
and he just went.
he comes with a...
Mate, that happened, and I've
the
got the
Transformers,
footage. And
yeah.
I've got the footage because I've recorded the whole thing up until
Right.
now.
Oh, for fuck's
and,
sake.
yeah, and he's 1, 2, 1, 2,
Bang!
and
Yeah.
he just recoiled and was like, "The fuck you doing?"
I love that you think you have sort of invented a new punch there. Do you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
is-
Do you know what it is? If Anthony Joshua uses that, then
Bang!
it's almost
legitimizes it.
like
Yeah.
a Power Rangers Megazord or something like sort of.
You need a sound
like,
effect with it.
And he goes across the ring like
Yeah,
knocked
Dragon
back,
Ball
like
Z.
a dog. Yeah.
Wow, that would really throw someone off, though, wouldn't it? 2 punches coming from the same.
It's also, this guy must really know what he's doing. He can throw.
That's like trying to play tennis with 2 balls, mate. Honestly, they won't be expecting it.
Yeah.
So I've got that trademark.
So good luck with that.
Yeah. But no, so I've got all that. So I might not be too bad if I put my mind
He's
to
South
it.
African though.
He's a cricket player. He's a YouTuber's mate.
Wow. Okay, he's already doing those lines. It's funny, conscoffed, but what's your channel built on, mate? It's a joke. It's a joke.
Oh,
You're also doing one thing that really fascinates me is when YouTubers completely step out of their bubble.
Yeah.
And you're doing a magazine.
Yeah.
Which like that really fascinates me. Like different forms of doing media is really interesting.
Right.
Not just that like, you know, I'm only in doing videos.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. Why? No.
Why?
Why do a magazine? Like, what was the interest and how?
Because I'm often writing blogs about stuff,
Yeah.
satirical little pieces, and they don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because I don't have anywhere for them to sit.
Do you think you're a? I mean, it's not. Do you think you're a good writer? But like, do you have a passion for?
I've always been
things?
into writing. Yeah, always. I've written sitcoms. I've written stand-up shows that I've never taken anywhere. All my videos are scripted.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one. I don't want to say every single one, but 99% of them. Yeah. I love that side of things. So that's what I want to do, and I want to make. I know it's very dodgy waters. JaackMaate releasing merch. That's very dodgy.
You never done merch?
I've done bits and bobs. I've done ironic pieces.
I've seen the little book and that you did.
Yeah,
And the t-shirt,
yeah.
what did the t-shirt
Not much,
say?
mate.
Yeah.
In response to Ollie White's "What Is Up" t-shirts. Yeah.
Not much, mate. I did think that was quite good.
Yeah, and
How do you feel about Ollie now?
He's all right.
Just
Yeah, I bet.
indifferent.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
He is
yeah.
what he is. But yeah, no.
What
So
is he?
I just want to.
What do you reckon? Have you met him before?
I've met Ollie before.
Oh, you met him before YouTube, didn't you?
I know.
He had a little experience with him before YouTube.
I think
I
we've
found
all
him
had them.
Yeah.
Tell us.
I saw him on a shoot. I won't know where the shoot was, but he was being a piece of talent for the shoot. And honestly, I also would preface this by saying I don't think one experience can sum up a character.
Yeah.
Didn't particularly look like he valued being there,
Right.
or that he valued the position he'd gotten into.
Yeah.
And it was something that at the time, as someone who had like no followers, 2,000 followers, something like that, and was really like trying to get into that space. When I saw that, I felt like he was taking it for granted.
Yeah.
It really annoyed me, so I got my back up. And so I've never really given him the opportunity to get back in, but he was sort of like...
He was a bit of an... he had a bit of an attitude.
He was a bit indifferent,
Yeah.
and some of the people were a bit like, he's a bit hard to work with, like we're not particularly enjoying it. And I just remember the time thinking, I grab that with both hands. And like, I really love to do what he's doing. And that always annoys me.
That was like a good springboard for him. That he didn't really.
But it was even just his indifference to the whole situation. That's what annoyed me. Was I felt like if you've been given an opportunity, you should always take it with both hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and not take that for granted.
I've heard a lot of similar stories about that guy.
And I don't think that fully summarises him. Obviously,
Right.
he can go home and he's got a great relationship with his brother. He's got a great relationship with his family, and you know, it's not his fault that he is where he is. I didn't like that vibe, and it didn't make me dislike Casper. It didn't make me dislike Joe. I know everyone's got their position in the group. There's probably people that like you that don't like me. Or they like Will.
I think
that
it's
don't like
usually the other way around, isn't it?
that like me that don't like you. But everyone's got their opinions. But there are times where I feel like there are some people talk to me about you and they go, yeah, but whatever, he's a bit of a cunt, isn't he, or whatever. And I'm like, no, you just don't know him. And then I think, is it the same with Ollie
Told
White?
my family to stop ringing you up.
But the thing is, calls at 3 o'clock in the morning, I will pick them up because I'm just so groggy. Do you know what I mean? It's.
I can be quite hard to work with at times, though, apparently, because there's people who work with us who say they're a bit worried about my reactions to things and stuff.
The problem for you
Just because
is
it's so out there.
The problem, no, it's also that Brian
I can be quite bad-tempered, basically.
He's such a perfectionist, and you want everything to go so well that sometimes I feel like it can swing the other way, where it you then go, oh, this is not, none of this is what I wanted. And the problem is in YouTube, and I was saying this the other day because I've had this experience when trying to make the last video that turned out shit anyway. Like, I had so many shoots where I thought this isn't exactly right, or this isn't what I want it to be.
What one was that?
The one we made about like the media and KSI and those things.
I thought that was really good.
It was nicely edited, but what the problem with it was, I felt like on TV they'll make space for a test shoot, they'll make space for let's script this in time. On YouTube there's like a get it out, and I sort of got caught in that we need to get it out rather than enjoying the process of it.
Why do you not like it?
It just doesn't go to the level, and Brian and I both agree that it doesn't go to the level that him and I both set the standard for, and I felt like I'd sort of let myself down and let Brian down in a sense, and we'd had that honest conversation on the phone, haven't we?
Me and him go back and forth, so like if there's videos that I make or he makes on XO, because basically that's sort of, Lawrence runs XO pretty much, you know what I mean? We just feed back to each other.
Yeah.
I'm really honest, do you know what I mean? And one of the problems that I've got is I think Lawrence is more talented than me, but I've got more of a because I've come from a totally different background. I've got a more practical approach to everything. So Lawrence comes at it from an artistic side where he's learned things that I've got no fucking clue about, and I'm coming in from this is the process I want to. My process is a lot more like streamlined, so I just get shit done. Which is what's enabled me to get where I am with basically like not a tenth of his talent. Do you know what I mean? So.
You're the Gervais, he's the merchant.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but we come at things from a. We're good for each other because we give each other the honest fucking critique. Do you know what I mean? So, and I watched the last video. I was like, I know you're capable of 10 times more than that, and that's just. People might look at that and be like, that's harsh as fuck, but it's like.
That's fair.
But when you want the best for each other, then you need to be that way with each other, as far as I'm concerned. And
that's fair. If
anyone else asked me the honest truth about their YouTube channels, I'd be the same way. But with him, we can be more honest. Do you know what I mean?
I think that is part of for me what production is as well. You need to be able to honestly evaluate someone, not without ego, but without taking it so personally that it like hurts you. It does hurt me, obviously. Sometimes I hear Brian say, "Oh, it's a fucking shit video," and I'm like, no, genuinely. The other day we had a conversation, and some of his first words, I went, "What do you think of the video?" And I hated it. I was like, "Fantastic." So, but you've also.
I apologise afterwards. I do say, mate, I'm sorry if I was like overly critical. It's just like how I am at times. I'm invested in YouTube. I love it. I live it.
That then becomes. You have to then be able to walk away from that and go, I appreciate your evaluation and I'll take that on board, rather than, oh my god, I'm so upset that Brian said something that could possibly get.
I'm worse with myself though. Like I'm actually worse on my own stuff than I am on anyone else. Like, even if I think the video is good, I never get that high anymore that I used to get when I did a really good video. I never get it. I'm always like, right, done, next. Like when we did the last video.
But is that because your standards have gone higher because you got more subscribers? No.
I don't know what it is. I work with a guy who people might not know called Gio on me. I think you've met Gio before.
He shot my Gervais podcast.
Right. So me and Gio work together pretty much every week on everything, and he edits with me, and like the lad's a fucking genius. But we did that last video. We put it out. I was happy with it. But then I never take time to be like, wow, that's a good video, I'm happy with that. Or like,
is this the one with the Ollie Murs top on? Is this the one where you had the Ollie Murs top on?
No, this was the one, what I really thought of the Logan Paul KSI video. So it was heavily edited, like 40-minute mini doc style.
Right.
Long shoot.
Like, we put a lot of effort into that. Gio grafted his arse off on it. But what I'm saying is, I don't have that. It's not like I'm criticising what Lawrence is doing and then sitting back on my own stuff and going, fuck me, that's brilliant. I'm amazing. If anything, once I think something is up to standard, it goes out and then it's on to the next thing. I never ever admire what I'm doing. I just criticise and move on. I'm never like impressed with myself at all.
Which can sometimes be good and sometimes
I think it's unhealthy probably, but it's the only way I know how to get through life.
Maybe it does build up some of your frustration, and if you did sit back maybe every now and again and go, oh, I really enjoyed that, or
I don't know, it's weird. I don't know, because I feel the same, but then you do a lot better content than I do.
Shut the fuck.
No, you do, but yeah, no, I think your standard is just getting higher and higher. Obviously, you're bound to have the odd poorish video every now and then,
fully.
But yeah, I think overall your content's getting higher and higher. It's just because there's more people for you to feel the need to impress now. You're a brand in yourself that everyone knows. You don't think your content justifies how much you have, like when it really does. And
when people bang on about Dave Dobrik, Shane Dawson, Casey Neistat, I want to be in that group of YouTubers.
Yeah, but you're not, and you're just as good, but you're parallel to them. You have your own thing going.
But that's what I'm saying is I want to be spoken about in that way of True Geordie's got a documentary coming out. Like,
you don't realise that how much you are though. You don't like. So when I did my podcast, and I will in the future do it again. It's not to. I enjoy it, and you're a big inspiration of that, which I don't think you realise. You are at the top of this game in the UK. You are. So you have the Joe Rogan. You have the True Geordie podcast. You'd be surprised that when I go out in Norwich, as I've said, people recognise me all the time. You wouldn't realise how many people recognise me because I've been on your podcast. You wouldn't know. I've done videos with lots of YouTubers, believe it or not. You're one of the ones they ask about the most. So you're a big character in the game, and you don't realise it. So that's probably why you're never happy enough with the content. You're like, next one, because you don't realise just how good it is. When you upload a podcast, when I uploaded my podcast, there was problems with the sound, the visual, the guests weren't right, I weren't a great host, all this stuff.
We have all the same problems.
But you're so good at it. Like you both complement each other so well. I guarantee when you make these, when we're doing this now, it could be a fucking 2-hour long podcast. The whole time I've been thinking the majority of people will be listening to the whole thing. Yeah. Because that's how invested they are in you. Me, they might just skip to the bit where I call Alfie a cunt. Do you know what I mean?
So a lot of the things you're saying I don't realise, because I think it's just embedded in my brain to never feel good, if that makes. And I don't mean that. Like sometimes I rate myself. And I'll rate a certain bit of content or whatever, and I'll feel like, yeah, I deserve to be. But generally, that's like a momentary thing, and for the most part, I'm like, need to be better. So it's a personality flaw, but it's one that sort of kind of works to my advantage, because clearly there's never-ending striving to be this fictional place that I want to be in my head, where I'm spoken about with these creators.
I think you need to be told more often that you are, though, because then I think
it doesn't work, you know.
Yeah, I know, and I'm the same. It's weird, like, isn't it? Yeah, you feel like you're not good enough, and you're trying to justify that there's a reason I'm here. Like, I'm justifying it, but that can be your downfall as well, because you're so much better than Shannon Briggs. Yeah, but then when you're on your channel saying, "Oh, I can do that," people aren't watching you thinking, "Oh, he thinks he can do it." I thought the opposite. I thought you were going, "Oh, why is he doing it, not me?" Like, and you were trying to be on that level. You're already on that level, and you're far surpassed it. When you did that head to head, and this might be a bit harsh, but this is just the way I saw it. Who was the guy from Sky or whatever that did the face to face things?
Oh, yeah.
And you were saying you can do it better, right? Every fucking person watches that. No, you can, right? You don't need to say it, but you're justifying it to yourself and your audience.
I get frustrated because I've got this chip on my shoulder. Like, I've got a place that I want to have.
But get rid of the chip, because you're above that already. Like, you don't realize. Take it from me, mate. You don't realize how big this is.
Do you know that chip though? I've realized, like, in talking to Dizzy Rascal, I sort of seen that in him and I've noticed it in a few successful people. Like, it's not attractive to look at when you're a fan of someone. So like when you look at a Gervais interview, just because obviously he's someone you look up to, and I fucking love the guy. You see he's happy in that he's proved his point, and he's sort of content with where he is in life. Whereas when you see someone who's very, very successful but still a bit irritated about they should be loved more or whatever it is, it's not a good look.
No.
And like, even like Eminem's latest album, a lot of people are like, he's just trying to overprove a point that he's the greatest of all time when most people still look at him as top 10 anyway. So what are you still trying to prove, sort of thing? I guess I just need to like let that go a little bit.
It's funny to me though, because it's thousands of years ago people were still having the same problems, and I guess we sort of feel like we're always progressing as a human race, but you look at the same problems we've got now, and you know, the Romans, the Greeks, all their stories, and even the Bible, all the stories are about the same problems that we have now, like about narcissism, or not realizing how good you really are, or being trapped in a bubble, not realizing, you know, what the problem you've got, or, you know, being too arrogant, or all these things. You'd have thought like we'd have moved on a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Just
but we
proves
haven't.
that it's ingrained in us rather than...
How many subscribers did Jesus have? I think I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And, you know, in hundreds of years' time, people will be leaving your YouTube videos in hotel rooms. Do you know what I mean? And handing them out. There'll be crazy people on street corners going, and True Geordie did say, you know, if you don't fuck in the morning, then you don't get up. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's going to be like. There'll be a little old woman on the street corner with a speaker just doing that.
Yeah.
And they'll be called Geordie.
Speaking of which, you and your girlfriend are very cute together. You make a good couple. I've got a little. Sometimes you get a little thing
Couple
for
crush.
a couple, don't
Yeah.
you? Like, oh yeah, I rate that.
Yeah,
It's absolutely driven
I'll
by
tell
you
a
as
funny
well.
story
Yeah.
though. Like, this is so fucking funny. You liked a picture of me and her, and I was just laid with her, and I went, I swear Brian likes any picture that you're in, right? And then,
Really?
right, I looked back,
way.
I put the view on the scroll one rather than the tile, and I went through, and any that was just me hadn't. Right? The boxing
Any with
ones
her.
you have now, but
Right.
then I'd be like, right, wait, and it'd say, and 3,000 others, click on it,
Yeah.
boom, Brian's there.
Top of it.
Every single one with that.
Rumbled.
Yeah.
Rumbled. No, I don't mean like in a funny way, but like she's a good looking girl. Like it's a good picture.
Which is way out of my league, yeah.
Yeah, fully. You cunt.
You know how...
How am I still struggling? This cunt.
But the thing
He's just
is,
funnier than me. I don't know what I've got.
It's partly that also you can tell sometimes when a girl gives a guy a certain kind of confidence that then it shows in the
You
smile in the
genuinely
picture.
look fucking. You look like there's
happy together.
there's a vibe though in the pictures as well though, like old bullshit aside.
like a low-level sexual tension.
No,
do you
like
know?
you look. It's like I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but she sort of gives you a bit of a.
Oh, yeah.
She's absolutely grabbed you by the neck and just...
No, like
There he is. She's holding a big trout.
some women, gotta be honest here, some women you can say bring men down.
Yeah.
Like I've seen girlfriends like make men just, you can see they suck the fucking life out of them. Whereas other women, they give men a lift.
They'll suck the life
and
into
that's what
them.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's just a photograph, but that's what I get from her.
She's absolutely spot on.
Is
Like,
she someone who do you talk to her about everything? You know, does she build you up?
everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So she'll come home from work and I will just run on and on and on. And I'll say to her sorry, I have to keep running. And she just loves hearing it, which is, I'm so grateful. Like, I can vent to her, whatever. And she constantly makes me a better person. So I will, and all these comments that I get online that hurt because they're true, she's already said it 100 times. She's very fucking smart. So so when I'm doing a video, I'll go, before I upload it, she'll come and watch it and she'll go, it's a bit, you mentioned Casper again, it's a bit boring, isn't it? Like, and she's spot on.
Wow.
Like, she's
I
like,
need something like that
But
in my
not in a
life.
snidey way.
No,
because
in
the
a-
problem is online it can feel a bit snidey, whereas you know if it's coming from a good place. So yeah,
was-
'cause
she
A
was-
creative woman's like
Spencer's got the same thing in his life with Alex.
Yeah,
like, they've
she's
got
seen
She
that.
that
can
as well.
fucking edit, mate.
Yeah.
Your lass needs to step back in.
Yeah.
After Effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fiona was actually really pissed off with me about the whole Will and E thing.
Why?
really?
She liked him.
She knew that he'd been on my podcast. She doesn't like me falling out with people needlessly. Yeah,
She's
And-
clearly
and
a good influence.
Yeah, and she was.
Has she got her own Instagram so I can go straight to the...
A lot of people ask that, Brian, and no, she hasn't.
Straight to the source in many ways, yeah.
She's not on social media at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got everything.
A
left.
little bit of him just went.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah. It was
Yeah, yeah.
lucky for me.
Never
Yeah.
mind. I'll just have to keep putting my hand over. Sorry.
The old Roberto Firmino.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. There he is.
I don't do that for the record. That was a joke,
Yeah.
right?
He fucking does do that.
Fuck's
Like,
sake.
Yeah,
don't-
he puts a piece of tape
No,
on the screen,
genuinely,
yeah.
I've watched that much porn. It takes a hell of a lot now for
Yeah.
me to reach that.
Selfies don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
They're definitely not.
It's also
Definitely
that
not.
personal feeling, though, that I think that
Although I was saying to Lawrence before the podcast, I am reaching a point with women where that setup, that seems like a good situation where you've got a girl who watches all your videos and that
And loves you.
and really takes an interest. That must be lovely.
Yeah, real love is what you're saying. Like that level where you say things like, it's because it's kind of nice to for a long time you've had quite a sour face on this podcast. You know, you've looked a little bit miserable, and it's nice
What
to
are you
see when
saying to this
I'm
guy?
joking to him. He knows I'm joking. And then when you start talking about her, you sort of light up. Like there's something quite
I like
nice
that.
about that you go, she's maybe a better man. And
You're going to marry that girl, I can tell, and good for you.
I reckon I will.
I think it's a good
Wow.
idea.
Until she gets social media and realise there are other men out there, other options that are above.
Yeah,
3 out of
exactly,
10,
yeah.
You've
then I'm
literally,
fucked.
no, the shed's locked. She's still in there right now.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a day. I'm going to London.
It's really.
We should both take-
It's Fritzl stuff. That's what it is,
yeah, we should both take a media blackout. Don't you think? Social media blackout for both of us for a little while. Just
You don't need it.
Don't
You
get
don't
an
need
account. You don't
Instagram.
need it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me, the people love me. All right. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Brian will be on you like a rash.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And he will give you a rap. So just
Fuck off.
All right. Yeah.
Fuck off.
You got that done. Yeah. It's a joke. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find my advice, any lads out there, just for the record, find a woman who isn't a project. You're just happy with who she is.
And someone who doesn't treat you like a project.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm finding that is more and more like in my head.
You're saying you get that quite a lot.
from experience with women in my life. Is like you meet a woman who either looks at you as a fixer-upper or a potential good guy, or you're viewing them and you just need to view them as who they are.
Find an
Is
equal.
this the one? Are you compatible? It shouldn't be hard work all the time. Like obviously kind of a little bit of work are required in relationships, but like too many people are like so not compatible and they're like, oh, you've got to work on it and that. You know what I mean?
I feel like that comment can sometimes go misconstrued. So in a healthy relationship, or a relationship that maybe feels good, in my experience, you put the hard work into things that then are rewarding. It shouldn't be hard work from a perspective of we're always having an argument, so I've got to put hard work into that.
Compromise is
or
a
we're
real
always having-
thing.
Yeah.
That's where the work comes in. You've got to compromise. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, like things seem to be going in the way of like girls seem to be looking at men as projects and that, and like where, well, in a few years you'll be who I want him to be, and it's like no, like
That's
not,
that can
that's
be
not
quite
how
unhealthy.
shit could be working.
It can also, I imagine that can also, if someone's saying that about you, that could really, I don't know, low level feels like it undermines what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, it's basically going. At the moment, you're half a man.
Yeah.
you're half the man that I'm hoping you are one day going
Her
to be.
ex-boyfriend's dick was massive,
Yeah.
though. So
But it's
Which one?
yeah. Wow.
Joking.
It sort of comes to a point though where I guess that there's a make or break point, and you guys have sort of got that make point where Brian endorses the relationship. So
there we
it's
go.
fantastic.
yeah, I'd love to be the guy who marries you.
Oh,
Imagine that.
maybe.
I've got to get ordained for that, but I'm well up for it.
I would love to see that. It's amazing the amount of weddings that I've heard you try and inject yourself into. We got Adam Boltwood off the
that was the
podcast.
bridesmaids, Lawrence, and I
Yeah.
said don't mention it.
Yeah. No,
I
but
couldn't think of anything worse to do that.
Imagine. I've tried to pull a girl at a funeral once. That was a low
fuck's
point.
sake.
We've heard that
was a
story.
low point.
That was like the second podcast. I think we titled "Pulling Girls at Funerals" or something, wasn't it?
That was, yeah.
I love the fact that you will basically stand at the front, not give a wishy-washy speech, but you'll go, he's trying to fuck her permanently. Do you want that? Yeah, I do. I do. Fucking shagger. Like that's going to be the way it is.
Yeah.
Oh dear. It's weird though. One last thing I'll say on the relationship thing. Last year was very rocky, and we were having a lot of arguments, and we were almost broke up a couple of times, and that went hand in hand with
Where you were.
where I was and me being a cunt online and stuff like that. And this year it's been perfect. There's not been one argument.
And do you think that was just because you were in that place?
It's because I'm in a better place. I wasn't a cunt. Yeah, I think so.
Also, you both sort of lasted the course in a sense. Like once you've been through that and you get through it, then you know.
Sometimes you have to go through the. So there's 3 stages in a relationship, so they say, which is the forming, where you come together, the storming, where there's a little bit of a battle there for where you fit in the relationship and who's dominant or whatever, where you feel like your place is, and then there's the norming, where you come out at the end and you are like a good couple, hopefully.
And then the back doorman.
And then the back
Yeah,
door.
when you get there, still
then when you
knocking
get
on
the
that door.
brown wings
It's not been answered.
after she's kosher.
Just so you get really tight.
Yeah.
Watching both of you I knew that was coming as well. So yeah.
Are we? How long have we been going for, Con?
2 hours.
We can finish on anal, yeah.
Yeah, sure. All right.
That's what he says so often as well.
We'll finish on anal, as Jack apparently prefers to.
Yeah.
Make sure you hit that like button. I'll put Jack's channel in the description below. It's been a fucking good catch up, mate.
It's been great. Thanks for
It's been
having
a real
me back.
pleasure to have you. I sort of missed you for quite a long time because you and I, we did that. We were talking about we did the Monopoly video thing.
Oh yeah.
And then once you'd taken all my ideas, you sort of left for a little while. So, but
We're trying to get him in XOFC, but they're being a bit about the final squad. It's annoying me because I wanted him in the team. I
It's
don't know if we'll
tricky.
get him in there, but
I'll show
hopefully.
everyone up on the pitch, so it'll be awkward.
Yeah, now he's fit for boxing.
We're trying to get you involved in a few things, and it's good to have you back.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
Jack's
again.
back.
Yeah.
All right.
Here's Jack.
Subscribe. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you later. Cheers.
Nice one.
Loved it.
I enjoyed
That was
that.
a fantastic podcast.
Yeah.